Welcome to Grimm. And I'm here with the Brothers Grimm, from left to right. Mr. Jack Luna, a man so dark he could have been an extra on the miniseries Roots. And to his right, the big man himself, Mr. Kent Chungas. A good and simple man, a little more simple than good. And I guess Kent Chungas is to true crime what beans are to flatulence. Now myself, Kent, and Jack Luna, we've decided to put this up on YouTube for free for everybody so they can get a taster of what it's like over on Patreon. And even in Patreon, we're posting this for free, so you can go sign up for free. I mean, how fucking good is that? No commitment, no nothing, free. And then it goes up from there, and for as low as $1, you get a shitload of content that's been removed off of YouTube, and I just had a video on the weekend fucking removed, just because I mentioned the word Palestine. I mean, fuck, YouTube has become a fucking cesspool. So go check out Patreon. You get literally hundreds of podcasts, shitloads of exclusive content, and there's tasty women over there. And probably a few dudes, if that's what you're into. Me, not so much. So there you have it. That's the hard sell. And now on with the exclusive first episode of Brothers Grimm. Gentlemen, how are you?
Amazing.
Excellent. Thank you, DEADBUG.
First time I've been nervous to do a podcast since, I believe, the John Wayne Bobbitt episode of True Crime Kent.
So you should be. You're amongst true crime greatness here. Even royalty. If Jack and I want to strip away our humble facade.
Oh, I also like how you introduced me as if I'm John Malkovich's character in Of Mice and Men.
I'm glad you liked it, Kent, because I had to watch Forrest Gump, Sling Blade, and Deliverance just to develop an idea of who you are.
I do like petting soft things, and I will pet too hard. So that's fair.
I agree, Kent. I'm nervous too, man. I haven't been nervous for a long time myself.
Well, we were talking before this, and I was under the impression, and I hadn't realized this until I heard you both at the same time. I didn't know it, but I guess subconsciously I thought that you and DEADBUG were just the same person doing impressions of one of another.
It's funny because Jack and I's girlfriends have said the very same thing. So how are things, gentlemen? What's going on your shitty little piece of the rock?
I just spilled beer all over my table.
Okay, so we're off to a good start, but I'm sure it's not the first time that you've cleaned up a wet spot. Probably someone else's as well. So while you're tongue diving on the wet spot, Jack, I'll give everyone here a heads up of what this here podcast is about. I guess it's safe to say that Grimm will be about everything and nothing. One episode may be dedicated strictly to the paranormal, while another, UFOs and strange occurrences in the Vietnam War. True crime with stories of killer transgender Eskimos and everything else in between. Anything that fits our fancy.
Yeah, I'd say just anything weird, anything weird, spooky, or fucking whatever. Yeah, interesting.
It certainly isn't going to be a series that's black and white. I guess there's going to be many shades. I guess not unlike Michael Jackson's ball sack, eh, Kent?
Well, it's, diverse. Mm-hmm. That's the key word, diversity. I think that's what DEI means.
Exactamundo, Kent. Exactamundo. One episode might not have a story that strokes your nutsack, while the next episode, well, it might have something that tongue tickles your puckered asshole and has you jizzing all over the walls. Forbidden wallpaper that your kids won't be able to lick. Hey, Jack?
Nice.
I'll open to your review and your particular proclivities.
Mm-hmm. I'll try not to be too crude.
Well, it is a show to be enjoyed by families, so hopefully you'll respect those boundaries, Jack.
Yeah.
Hey, I just realized that I haven't introduced myself.
You didn't?
Well, my name's DEADBUG Says. My friends call me DEADBUG. But since you're not my friends, let's just stick to DEADBUG Says. You maitre d' to the dark side. I'll get you a table for one, and hell.
And you're more of the Gary Sinise character and of Mice and Men.
He's not gay, is he?
No, not openly.
Okay, well, that's me then.
And according to DEADBUG, I'm the black guy in Mice and Men, right? Who's the big black guy?
Oh yeah, the one that lives in the shed.
Which Jack does live in a shed. Well, because you're dark, Looney.
Right.
You're Mr. Darkness. You're known for your
I
darkness.
appreciate it, man. I appreciate it big time. Hey, I gotta say, DEADBUG, just you don't realize it, I think, but you are well known. When I posted this on social media, people were freaking out about this, and not just you. I mean, all three of us being together. The feedback on this has been tremendous. I've never had a pop like I had when we announced that we were going to be doing this together. So,
Oh, well, that's encouraging.
just to make everybody a little bit more nervous, except DEADBUG doesn't seem to have nerves.
or feelings,
Right.
or guilt.
No, Kent, because those are emotions for the oppressed and the ignorant. So what's been up with you guys? I guess we should focus on our frivolities for the moment, because when we get into these stories, we're going to hit it hard. So I'll start with you, Jack. What's new? And for anybody who's wondering, I have been elected to be the ringmaster of this here series, so I can rein everybody in. Because it really is scary to think that I am the only one of us three that has any level of maturity, which is scary.
It is.
It's scary to think that I have been elected the voice of reason.
Yeah, it's necessary. What's going on in my part of the world? Not much. Funny that we decided for this episode to talk about things going on in our parts of the world, and I got stuck with Canada.
Yeah.
But I got a few stories in store for us today that'll surprise and shock you and hopefully make you giggle a little bit. I went to the beer store just before we started. I promised myself I wouldn't, but I had to. And just dirty looks, man. When you're buying beer at 7 in the morning, you just get the dirtiest looks from all the farmers. So I just say, hey, I'm working a night shift to them. They're like, oh, okay, bud.
And that's the funny thing about Canada. It's very judgmental that way. Like you'll go into a bar and you'll order a beer at lunch, and they'll look at you like you're a fucking alcoholic or something. Very judgmental. That's why you need to move to England. They're not judgmental about those things. People be in a bar at like 11 o'clock in the early afternoon and drinking, and no one gives a shit.
Yeah.
Hey, DEADBUG, I've tried to do what you're doing right now. He isn't hearing it.
No, I'm not trying any subtle manipulation here to appeal to Jack's intelligence side. I'm speaking facts here. You can fucking go into a pub at 11 o'clock in the morning and people are drinking. There is no such thing as an alcoholic. People fucking like to drink. You know, it's just like you could just go anytime. But I'm saying in Canada, it's like what Jack said, you're going in at this time, you shouldn't be buying beer. In England, there's no, but then in England, we don't have an LCB, what do they call it, an LCB?
You got it. Yeah, the LCBO.
I mean, it's like America. You can buy booze anywhere.
Yeah, you can buy it at the pharmacy here. Here's another thing, DEADBUG. We might have spoken about it before, but you're saying when they go into the pub early, they have a rule out here. You go into the pub, you start drinking, but you need to have food in front of you. So they have a biscuit.
That's right. That's right. So you have to fucking order something. That's so messed up.
So you know what they do, DEADBUG and Kent? They have an old biscuit, and you just grab the biscuit and put it in front of yourself, and then you can drink. You're not eating the biscuit, but you got a piece of food in front of you. It's just this old biscuit that they pass around.
That's just so ridiculous. So what you're saying, Luna, is you got a brewski in front of you and you're ready to go. You're ready to deliver the goods.
Yes, I'm ready to go.
He's got one beer in front of him and 9 bottles.
So we're going to have lots of good stories. I heard an echo of glass there, so he's not far off. So what about you, Ken? What's up?
I'm drinking a coffee, puffing on an e-cigarette. It is 8:36 a.m. in the morning here. I've been awake about 45 minutes, and I've kicked off a health journey, DEADBUG, for the 5th time in 2 years.
Good for you, Kent. Discipline.
So, see what happens.
Well, good luck.
I should be eating pizza again by Friday, I would imagine.
Stay positive. Well, guys, I think we should just get into this. What do you think?
Okay.
So should I allocate someone to go first, or should I just go first? What do you guys prefer?
Well, since you didn't talk about how you're doing and what's going on in your part of the world, DEADBUG, maybe you just go first and fill us in.
Oh shit, that's right. I didn't tell you guys what I've been up to.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I should. Well, as you guys know, because I've already mentioned it, and I'm leaving tomorrow, and some of our listeners know because I've mentioned it on some other podcasts, I am going to Mexico with Violent J, him out of Insane Clown Posse, to watch wrestling. Bunch of midgets and other wrestlers getting goofy with each other.
The life you live, man.
I'm flying out tomorrow, a 14-hour flight, to watch wrestling with Violent J.
In Mexico.
In Mexico. 14-hour flight.
Let me tell you something. Right now, as we speak, there's some 21-year-old fuckhead in a bar telling a girl how crazy his coming week is, trying to impress her. Yeah, me and the bros, we're going to take the bikes out to Cedars Point, maybe play some badminton.
I love badminton.
DEADBUG, however, this week is fucking getting on a plane and going to meet Violent J to watch midgets fight each other in Mexico.
To the death, hopefully.
Yeah.
That should be interesting. Even a cultural experience. Who knows? But that's why we're doing the podcast today, because I'm going to be gone for about 3 weeks. Maybe forever. Who knows if I'll make it back. It's a nasty part of Mexico. It's not one of those places that you want to be drunk wandering the streets. So it should be interesting. But I'm with Violent J, and he's like, 6'4" or something. So
Hey, Deb.
Is he fun to be around? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to step on you.
No. I was going to ask the same.
Yeah, he's okay. I mean, he's no Pee Wee Herman. I would say I'm the sort of the ringmaster of that relationship. So he looks at me as, I guess I'm like a court jester. I'm in charge of the laughs and the storytelling. So, I've got to be, there to entertain him with my my stories and jokes and whatnot. So, but he is fun. Yeah, he's fun. He's got a lot of tales. He's a very he's like a gentle giant. I think he's very misunderstood, I would say, about Violent J.
Yeah. I've seen that with what you guys have put out so far. And isn't it crazy that of all, he's been around the world, he's met a lot of high-profile people, but he was nervous to meet you, wasn't he, DEADBUG? He was nervous to meet you.
He was, which was weird, having someone so famous being a fanboy. Looking at you in admiration is just crazy. Especially him knowing all my work and then quoting all my well-known quotes. Remember when you said that? When you done the thing and you said that? That was good.
And you never remember.
No. I mean, he's quoting episodes from like 4 years ago or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was pretty funny. Yeah, that was a good one.
I shit on ICP a lot jokingly, but the truth of the matter is I listened to him growing up. It's funny you say that when you're hanging out with him, you're the ringmaster, considering he literally released an album called The Ringmaster.
I just realized that now. But, they're both really lovely guys. I mean, I've been to Shaggy's house, got a beautiful wife, beautiful house, and he's got a great sense of humor. He'll have you laughing, telling old stories and whatnot.
Yeah, I've listened to ICP since as long as I can remember.
Same.
Quietly by myself in a room.
Yeah, I almost consider myself a juggalo when I was 13, 14. I had the albums.
Yeah.
I had the albums, and I would listen to them.
I did too.
Yeah, I was surprised how much Jack knew about ICP, because when I first started hanging out with them, Jack was able to fill me in and get me up to speed on facts about the band.
Yeah.
What's the greatest album, Jack, in your opinion? For me, it's The Great Malenko.
It's The Great Malenko, yeah. It's The Great Malenko.
Yeah.
And my favorite song is Underneath the Moon.
Me too.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
Is it? Oh, wow.
I also like The Riddle Box.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I mean, those are famous. I told Jack, though, it's funny because I said to Jack, Jack, the next time they're in town, I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna hook you up. I'm gonna get you tickets backstage. You come and hang out.
Fuck.
And then Jack said, "No fucking way."
There's no way, dude. No fucking way.
He said, "Unless you go, I wouldn't go.
Yeah.
Unless we have a purpose." He didn't want to be seen without a purpose. Like I would have to give him a fake microphone or something. Jack wasn't gonna go. He just wasn't gonna just go. He had to have a purpose, like whether that was like carrying my coat or anything. He had to have a job. He didn't want to be seen as just someone who was hanging out at a Juggalo gathering.
There's no fucking way, dude. There's no way. And no disrespect to any of those people, but I mean, my God, right?
It wasn't for you.
No.
To be fair, though, nothing is really for Jack.
Well, he's not known for assimilating.
Jack is trying to like that eel at the bottom of the ocean. that stays in that hole, and it's really hard to lure him out.
Or that bug that is under the rock, and when you lit the rock, he's there looking at you, and you either squish him or you let him scurry away. Go free, bug. Go free.
You're making me blush, guys. You're making me blush.
Okay, enough of these familiarities, and if you gentlemen don't mind, I think we should get started, and I will go first.
Yes.
Let's do it.
As Luna mentioned at the top of the show, each of us in this episode will be choosing a incident from our location where we currently inhabit in the world. And mine is in the UK. And my story takes place in 1974 in London, England. It was the year that Nixon resigned because of Watergate. Muhammad Ali fought George Foreman in the Rumble in the Jungle. And the Hollies song, The Air That You Breathe, was #1 in the charts. But it was also the year that John Bingham, the 7th Earl of Lucan, disappeared off the face of the earth. Now, John Bingham, or the Earl of Lucan, I guess you could say that he looked like you would expect the regal English gentleman of the time to look like. He was handsome, debonair. In fact, he looked so much the part of an English aristocrat that he was asked to audition for the part of James Bond after Sean Connery had left the role, which eventually went to Roger Moore. The slicked back hair, pencil-thin mustache, the well-tailored suits, the sports cars, the whole deal.
Yeah. I'm looking at a picture of him. He looks like the English Brad Pitt.
Very much so, and I can only imagine he had pussy falling at his feet. And this was swinging England. 1974. London was a place to be. And, he's got the cars, he's got the clothes, he's got the money. People like Bingham are the upper echelons of English society. They don't have things like this in America. But in the UK, but make no mistake, they're riding a gravy train with biscuit wheels. You know what I mean? They're not waking up wondering if they can afford the latest gimmicks and sports cars. It's there. It's there at the fucking door if they want it. And people like Lord Lucan, they don't even have to work if they don't want to because they're born into it. They have the money just sitting in the bank. It's handed to them from birth. The best schools, the best food, the best everything. In England, these individuals probably represent about 15% of the population that we call the ruling class.
And they have the incredibly a more inbred lineage than Kent's family.
I resent that.
And that's a very good point, Luna. And although a lot of people make sport of it, but this is why these royal types, i.e. the ruling class, bring in the commoners, i.e. the ugly people, to even out the lineage, because they are inbred, and they admit it because they think they're so good that no one else can come in. You know what I mean?
Unbelievable.
Which is probably isn't like Kent's family, but nevertheless.
No, I've got an uncle that believes that. It's caused a lot of feuding.
I'm gonna fuck you, little Shrooby Loo, because no one else is good enough. Daddy, no!
Yeah, he kept trying to bring this bitch named Cheryl in that had no relation to us whatsoever. It really caused a ruckus in the Chungas
in the Chungas domain. But
yeah,
but this is, in all seriousness, this is how these guys are. They'll occasionally bring in, and hence. Princess Di, she was the hot one, and they brought her in with Charles because, oh, fuck, look at the guy. He's a king now, but you got the fucking jug ears, he's got the big fucked up.
Yeah,
he's just fucked up, isn't he?
Yeah, they got to even that out.
And you're in a...
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Jack.
I just said they got to even it out. They got to even out the fucking looks, Di was beautiful.
Oh, okay. You took an opposite route.
I thought she was beautiful. I did.
Yeah, no, I did too. She was leggy.
She wasn't bad looking, but if your lineage is inbred, if that's the good looking one.
Well, I think she's good looking of her time. And he went out with some babes. He went out with Sabrina Guinness, who was gorgeous at the time, and I worked for her, believe it or not. I shared an office with her for a while, and she was gorgeous, even when she was older. And he went out with her in the 70s. And, this guy got pussy. He's the fucking prince.
Yeah. Ass pussy, too, no doubt, right?
For sure.
Oh, probably for sure. That guy was fucking sinking balls into the shit. There was shit on the walls in the royal palace. That's for fucking sure. And I don't want to get into that because it's a family show.
Right.
But you guys are making me digress here. So basically, they like to even it out and get some commoners and stuff. So this guy was rich. I mean, you read this guy's schedule. He fucking got up in the morning, read the paper, had breakfast. He went to the gentleman's club, had a nice leisurely lunch, maybe played some squash, then went home, showered, relaxed a bit, had a nap. Then he went and had to dinner. Then he went to the gentleman's club and he gambled maybe till about 3 a.m. This is the schedule of this guy.
Jack?
Nice. Yeah. Oh, me.
You see, this is why I'm leading the show here, because you guys are fucking juvenile. Now with all these riches, the looks, the lifestyle, of course, he meets a beautiful model in 1963 named Veronica Duncan, and they get married and they have 3 children. And this woman comes from good lineage as well, and her family are filthy rich. And by all accounts, these two are in love. I mean, they can't keep their hands off each other. Jack, Kent, did you get a chance to see this young woman?
Yeah, I'm looking at it. She's way hotter than Princess Diana.
Oh, she's tasty. I thought Princess Di was pretty hot. Fuck, back me up here,
Yeah, I did too.
Jack.
Dude, no, I
mean, she's
Guys.
leggy. I mean, you gotta let the hairstyle and those things aside. I mean, we're different.
If
era.
you saw if she wasn't a princess, if you just saw Diana at Whole Foods over by the heads of cabbage, you would maybe do a second take.
What? Tall, 5'10", blonde, skinny, leggy, classy. Yeah, I'd do a different take.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Dreamy eyes. You know what I liked about Diana is that she seemed very reserved, shy, sweet. But then when she spoke, she had this confidence and this regalness about her that was natural to her. She didn't really so much develop it. I'm sure she was taught a lot of ways to behave, but she had a brain. Intelligence goes a long way with me with girls. I mean, you can be as hot as you want to be. If you're dumb as shit, forget it. I'd rather screw the cabbage that you're standing by in Whole Foods, whatever you were just talking about, than a dumbass.
Without a doubt, Jack. And Kent, while you may be looking for a woman who can fire a semi-automatic weapon and hit a moving target at 6 feet with chewing tobacco, some of us want something more. And so I'm with Jack. I mean, brains matter.
Brain matter.
I mean, exactly. I mean, at the end of the day, you want someone who is compatible in every way. I mean, and you know, I mean, looks, they fade. And you're still stuck with this person, and there's got to be something there.
Yeah.
More.
Yeah. DEADBUG, don't want to digress too far from your story for you, but to say about that.
Digress.
The thing about that is that I found when I'm with somebody who's not that intelligent that when you get into arguments or when you get into conversations, when you get into conversations that you disagree on, it inevitably turns into an argument. And the way in which they argue is all over the place and not on the point. You can't come to a real conclusion with a fucking moron. There's that saying, argue with a fool and soon the two of you will be indiscernible. You'll both be fools. I always found that with dumb girls that I just kind of had to go, yeah, you're right. You're right. Take your fucking shirt off, I guess. Fuck me. I'm out of here.
Well, there is this whole thing, and I don't want to say anything that's sexist because I do believe it can be the same for men and women, but if you're very, very good looking from a very early age, you don't develop a lot of things that you need to develop. Now, girls that came about their looks later in life were able to develop a personality, a strong character, because they didn't have to rely on their looks.
Ugly duckling syndrome. Yeah.
You know, and they're able to do that. But when they're very good looking, they just get it all. They don't have to make an effort. So they have that sort of idea. They don't have to make an effort.
Mm-hmm. They're humble. You know, they have a humbleness to them too.
Well, exactly. So this Earl of Lucan, this John Bingham, he's called the Earl of Lucan. He became the Earl of Lucan when his dad died, and he inherited that title. But when he met this Veronica, he was just John Bingham. The title would come later. So they meet at this fancy party, they fuck a lot, and they end up having 3 kids. But after she had the kids, she suffered from postnatal depression. Which I know the same thing happened to you, Kent, which is unusual for men, but in no way gay. So please don't mock Kent in the comments. And she became very depressed, and back then, depression, I mean, in the 60s especially, it wasn't very understood. Now, at first, Bingham, now Lord Lucan, he was very understanding. He wanted to help his wife. He researched it. He wanted to understand this depression brought on by having their kids. But then I guess he just got fucking fed up. I guess when she wasn't putting out. You know what I mean? Like, she probably wouldn't put out on him. She probably wouldn't suck his dick. She probably wouldn't do anything. And he's like, fuck this shit. I don't need this shit. You're depressed, but, like, suck my dick.
And that's what got me, got my therapist to give me a restraining order.
Yeah. Something unbelievable is happening here, guys, where there's a crow right outside my fucking studio. So, I mean, it'll be ambient noise, but my apologies. Fuck me.
Didn't we use a sound effect? Didn't I fucking tell you you're fucking so dark, Jack? That's what I meant. You're dark. The fucking crows are fucking nesting right outside. They're looking in saying, yes, master. Tell us what to do, master. We do your bidding. I don't know why I'm Chinese.
Do you hear?
Suddenly turned into a Chinaman. Yes, master. We do our bidding. It's a Chinese crow. Yes, master.
Holy shit. Holy shit. The fucking lot of smoke coming out of here. I turned into a New Jersey guy again, as I always do.
Yeah.
In my head, crows sound like ODB. So
now let's get back to the story here. Veronica is depressed. She's not putting out. So they eventually separate. A trial separation. Because when you're fucking rich, you can separate. When you're fucking poor, you can't really separate. Like, how many times I think to myself, you know, you're going to fucking leave your girlfriend or something, and then I'm fucking leaving. You walk out and you go, where am I going to fucking go? I can't afford a hotel. And then you just, I'm back.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Let's work this relationship out. But if you're filthy rich,
moving on.
you could just do that, can't you? You can just leave. So he leaves.
you can go to your lake house.
You know the score, Kent. You know the score. So, and this is what it is with this guy. He's got a lake house. He's got everything. So he leaves and he gets a separate place. Now she goes to one of those nut houses for rich people, and she gets cured. And she comes back and she said, "Hey, Lord Luca, you know, I want to suck your dick. Let's get this thing back on track." But now he's just like, "Fuck that shit. I don't want to get back with you. I just want the kids." So he wants the kids. He wants custody of the kids. And fuck her, you know, you can just fuck off. And so they go to court. This is drawn out. Now as they're doing this, he is spying on her. He records her phone conversations. He's hired private detectives to get the mud on her. He's often seen outside of she stayed at their place, and he's got another apartment. And he's spying on her because he wants to get the dirt on her. Yeah, and this guy... The other thing about Earl Lucan, he's quit his job. He was a head banker making a fortune, but he's quit his job, if you can call it a job, and he's become a professional gambler. But here's the thing. He's a fucking shit gambler. He's in debt. He's fucking pissing away thousands and thousands of dollars a day. So I don't even know how he thinks he can be a professional fucking gambler.
Yeah. Fucking sounds like me again.
You should start a true crime podcast.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it sounds like fucking 1159 Media. Whole bunch of fucking nobodies doing podcasts.
Jesus Christ!
Yeah,
Easy.
I'm a gambler. I took a big gamble on that and lost there too as well. Well, I came up with Kent.
Not you, of course, Kent. I mean, you know, jeez.
Come on.
Let's keep this classy. Fuck.
I'm sorry, Kent. Will you forgive me, Kent?
I forgive you. I love you, DEADBUG.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I'll edit that out. Now, so he's a gambler. So he's in debt. He's borrowing money from all his fucking friends. Like, he's like thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in debt. And he's first of all, he's paying his wife's support, but then he pulls back on all the support. He's not giving her any because he wants to starve her out. He wants to make life difficult. So she has to take a part-time job at a hospital because she can't even pay the fucking bills. She's living in this beautiful, beautiful place in London, but she can't even pay her bills. So he's only paying for the kids, but not her. So he's spying on her, and he takes her to court. Now, he loses the court battle for the kids because the judge says he is just a total unlikable person. He's a knobhead, like they say in England. Which goes against what his friends say. His friends say he's gentle, he's shy, he's gentlemanly, he's a really good guy. But then your friends are going to say that about you, aren't they?
Yeah, they're all on the dole probably in some way.
Exactly. So it's 1974 in November, and at this time, Veronica Lucan has hired a nanny. Now, this nanny's pretty tasty by 1970s standards. She's no Princess Di.
Yeah.
But she's got her shit going on. She's got the drip. She's got big tits. She's got long hair. She's hot. And this is the nanny that Veronica Lucan has hired to care for her kids. Now, this nanny has, she's been in multiple relationships. And her name's Sandra Rivet. And she'd been married. She was used goods. But her husband left her. Her husband was in the army, and he left her because he thought she was fucking around on him.
I think Sandra Rivet was tastier than Princess Diana. I'm gonna say it.
Kent, no one gives a fuck about your sexual choices in life. Jesus Christ, Kent, can I tell a fucking story? You're still on this Princess Di thing. He's got.
You guys keep going on about how hot Princess Di was.
Hot, man. She's so hot.
She's pretty hot. She's pretty hot. Pretty.
You know, she was hottest when she was wrapped around the engine of the vehicle in which she crashed in. Sorry, fucking
Jack,
hell, I know.
Jack.
That was also proof that we found. That was also when we had proof that she had brains.
Oh boy.
Oh my God. So we're digressing quickly here. You know what? I'll tell you what. When I quickly, and I don't want to digress too much because we're talking about Sandra Rivet here. But when Princess Di died, I was about to go to bed. I was watching CNN, and they said there was a car accident, and this was about 11:45 in American time. It's about 11:45, and they said there was a car accident, and Jodie Fayed and Princess Di and the bodyguard and the driver were in the car. Mm. And I was about to go to bed, and they said that Jodie Fayed was dead, and Princess Di only had a broken arm.
Yeah, I remember that too, DEADBUG.
Do you remember that? And I thought, and I was just about to go to bed, and this is CNN back when there was no internet. Mm-hmm. You're getting it from your news. And I just thought to myself, I'm not going to bed because how can you get into a fucking car accident and one guy is dead? The bodyguard is seriously injured. The driver is dead, but she only has a broken arm.
Yeah.
Wasn't she talking after the initial accident?
That's what I heard that too, Ken. I heard that as well.
Yeah, she did. She said she woke up. She said, "Get off me!" Like she woke up and started kicking and said, "Get off me, get off me."
Yeah, she was seeing the ghost of Charles. Charles was on her, so, at the last moment.
Just big crooked teeth.
Yeah, exactly. And so I stayed up, and then it was around 4 o'clock in the morning or 3 o'clock in the morning that they announced that she was dead.
Yeah.
And I knew because then the whole thing, they kept saying the broken arm thing, but then you could see the ambulance stopping and starting, and I instantly knew that she must be dying and then bringing her back to life, because that's what happens. If an ambulance is trying to revive people,
yeah,
they'll stop, won't they?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they'll just calm down. Everything will calm down, and you'll see it. Yeah. Man, there's a princess. Yeah.
Because they can't. They can't rush her. They can't rush her to the hospital because she'll die. So they're just trying to do it all right there.
Right, triage. They're setting up and trying to make it happen. Yeah, my God.
Exactly. So, but it just shows how, because it's with all those sort of things. The royal. It's like when the Queen died. They're saying, oh, she's just ill.
Yep.
She's very ill and stuff. She was already dead. I mean, I have a couple of friends in the news, and they told me, yeah, she's dead.
Wow.
And they didn't announce it till fucking hours later. That's just how they are, because they want to get everything in place, don't they? The press announcements. They want to tell everybody and get everybody to have a sort of a united front.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to the story. So, Lady Lucan has hired this nanny who has a questionable romantic history. I don't want to say she's a slut or anything, but
right.
Okay, she's a slut, obviously.
You don't have to. I'll say it. She was a slut.
Chungus, that's inappropriate. But yeah, you're right, Ken. She likes cock. There's nothing wrong with that. And so she was married. Her husband left her because she was cheating. She had a whole bunch of boyfriends. She had a colored, shall we say, romantic background. And she became the nanny for Lady Lucan. And although historically she might have been considered a slut, by all accounts, this young woman was a very good nanny and fulfilled the job requirements. So on the night of question, at about 8:55, the nanny asked Lady Lucan if she wanted a cup of tea. And Lady Lucan said, yeah. So the nanny went downstairs, but then she never came up. So I guess Lady Lucan were thinking, holy fuck, where's this slut with my cup of tea? I'm thirsty here. I got the biscuits ready. So she went down. She started walking downstairs to check where she was. And as she went down, a hand grabbed her from behind and started fucking bashing her head. And then told her to shut up. and she felt like she was hit at something. So she bit the hand that were holding her, and she started wrestling around. She was wrestling with this intruder who had a mask on. And when she heard the voice, she was like, this guy, he meant business. So they were wrestling around, and then she went, and the guy dragged her upstairs, and he said he's going to go in and he's going to check if the kids are there. Are there anybody else in the place? And he said, you stay here. He went to check if there were any kids in the house, and he went. And as he went in, she fucking ran off. Good mother, eh?
What?
She fucking ran for help. So she ran to the next door bar, and she said, I've just been attacked by a mysterious stranger. And they said she was covered in fucking blood because I guess he bashed her brains out. And she just fainted there from shock. I mean, that's what rich people do, don't they? They faint a lot.
Yeah. This guy...
Poor people don't faint.
No. I just pictured...
We can't afford it.
No, can't afford to faint. No. Right. I picture the guy wearing the mask. You said wrestling. I just had Violent J in my mind, because you're going to that wrestling thing. And he's going to the bar. She goes to the bar, and I'm sitting there with a biscuit in front of me like, hey, VJ, you guys going to Tijuana with DEADBUG? Have fun.
You shouldn't have divulged that I'm going to Tijuana. Nobody's going to fucking go to Tijuana. All these fucking nutcases are going to Tijuana to look for me and Violent J. We've warned them in advance.
I think you're safe.
Yeah, exactly. So get this. Well, you mentioned Tijuana. I fucking Google it. The number one dangerous place in the fucking world. The most murders in the world are Tijuana.
You're just looking at the bad. That's also the place where people have had the most fun.
Yeah.
Kent, you sound like one of those gay guys in San Francisco in 1982 when they're justifying anal sex and they.
So it's like you got to take the good with the bad.
Yeah, I prefer. Yeah, well, let's see what happens. If you don't hear from me,
Nobody's ever seen a lady fuck a donkey in Illinois.
Well, this is the only episode. If something happens to me, this is our pilot episode and our last one. So anyway, so she goes to the bar. She fucking faints. They run over. The cops go over there, and when they go in, they find Sandra Rivet, and she's fucking, her brains are fucking bashed out all over the place. The cops said it looked like a fucking bowl of guacamole. Her skull did, which you can imagine is pretty bad.
Yeah.
And they find a pipe there. There's a pipe beside her, and the kids are upstairs just fucking still sleeping. And so they take the wife to the hospital, and she's there. And when she wakes up, first of all, she's talking about this intruder. But then her fucking story changes, and she starts saying her husband was the one who attacked her. First of all, she said, my husband hired a hitman. But then her story changed again, and she said it was my husband who came in, and he fucking killed the nanny, and then he started bashing me up a bit, knocking me around. So this is weird.
Yeah.
Where's the husband? So the cops start looking for the husband, for Lord Lucan, and they can't find him anywhere. And when they go to the mother's, his mother, who's royalty as well, she's like a, up there like a duke or something, or a duchess or something. She said, he was just fucking here. And he seemed fine, but he said something terrible happened. He didn't get into details. And then he left. Because the only thing she could say was that his hair was a bit messed up. This is how these people fucking live. His hair was a bit messed up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that fucking weird? His hair was a bit messed up.
Yeah, well,
that's all she said.
It's probably normally slicked back, right? They're always keeping themselves like every hair is in place. It would be odd to see them that way.
Well, these are the sort of people that fucking, they're never in their underwears. They're always wearing a three-piece suit. Because in the pictures I see him, he's always wearing a three-piece suit. They're those sort of people. They say if you fucking answer the door in your underwear, it's not classy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just thinking if I got accused of murder every time my hair was messed up, I would be remembered as Adolf Hitler.
Well, exactly. So they want to talk to this guy, but at this point they got no proof. Like they know nothing about this fucking guy. Like, except for he's fucking royalty. I mean, he's upper echelon, and his fucking wife, who has been in a loony bin a couple of times, and the hatred between these two is fucking well known. Like, they hate it. He's still trying to get the kids off her. He's still trying to set her up. And that was the thing, too. The mom said that when she saw him, he had a wet patch. And for me, I thought on his pants. And for me, every time I go to take a piss, I got a wet patch.
Yeah.
That means nothing.
Yeah. Especially as you get older.
Well, anytime, yeah. I mean, fuck. I mean, sometimes it's a shit stain as well.
Yeah.
Soaks through my pants. It's like it happens. But I guess rich people don't fucking roll like that. So that's what she said. She said he had a wet patch, but she couldn't say it was blood or anything. She said it was a wet patch, which for me, who fucking cares, lady? Like, why are you ratting out on your son? Keep some decorum here. So anyways, they went to his apartment, and when they went to his place, his passport was there, laying on the bed. The keys to his car, a Mercedes-Benz, all his money, his driver's license, his glasses that he needs to see, everything that mattered was still there.
Suspicious.
Fucking weird. I mean, don't you think? I mean, this guy, he's going to take the money.
Can I roll back for a second here, Deadbug? I want to be clear. When she's giving the information to whoever finds her, so she's had her brains bashed out and she's giving information on the ground. Like, I think it was fucking something. Like, she's telling people who she thought did this to her, the attacked woman.
Well, that's the whole thing. When she ran into the bar,
Yeah.
She said an intruder came in, a stranger came in and has attacked everybody. When she got to the hospital, when she first woke up, she said, my husband hired a hitman.
I got it. Okay.
And then she said it was my husband because I recognized his voice. Her story changed.
It was the nanny that got her brains beat in.
Gotcha.
No,
Jack.
but the nanny was killed and got her brains beat in, but he still roughed her up. He still was banging her fucking head off the wall and shit. She was covered in blood, Kent. It weren't a period, trust me.
But I'm saying the one that's running and telling everybody, that's Lucan, right? The wife.
Yeah, that's Lady Veronica Lucan, his wife.
That survived.
Yeah.
Yeah, she survived. Yeah, she was just roughed up, but he bashed her, punched her, bashed her head off the wall, and he, with a pipe and shit.
Okay, that's where I was getting mixed up because I just thought that the person who got their skull bashed in was running around with their brains hanging out, being like, hey, well, this happened to me, that happened to me. No, sorry. So that cleared up for me. My apologies.
No, well, the mom got her brains splashed out as well, but I guess her brains weren't hanging out. But
Not as much.
She still took some of the rough stuff from this guy. But the thing is that her story changed.
Yeah.
At first, it were like this intruder. Then my husband hired a hitman, and then it was my husband. I recognized his voice. So get your story straight, honey. Who was it? And she's never saw a face. She's just saying she recognized the voice. So the cops start investigating. So this is fucking weird. The cars there, everything. So they go and they investigate, and they find out that that Lord Lucan has gone to a friend. One of his friends who lives about 20 miles outside of town. And he said, listen, something fucking horrible has fucking happened. And what he says as he was going by, because remember I told you he was spying?
Yeah.
He was spying on his wife, like trying to get the dirt on her to say that she was an unfit mother because he'd lost the court and he wanted to get his kids. So he was seen. So lots of people said that they saw him spying on her, his car always there. And what he says is that he saw, he was spying on her, and through the basement window, like as you can see from the car, in England, these English flats, especially these very richy, posh ones, you can see into the basement. The basement's like a whole apartment. You can see easily from the street. And he was in his car, and he saw the nanny getting fucking bashed around. There was a guy in there with a pipe bashing her around. And he ran in to fucking help because there was no breaking and entry in this place. Okay?
Yeah.
So this makes it even stranger. But then it wasn't unusual for them to leave the door open. So Lucan ran in and he interrupted this intruder who'd killed the nanny and was now bashing his wife's brains. And then this guy took off. They wrestled a bit, and this intruder took off. And then that's when Lord Lucan was there. So what he's saying is that one that were fucking bashing around with his wife, and his wife, because she hates him, is just manipulating the situation.
He's making himself a hero.
Yeah. I gotta say, it sounds like a thrown together story here that we're dealing with.
Well,
Yeah.
it doesn't sound like a thrown in story. I mean, if this woman were a known slut,
Yeah.
she
That's
liked
true.
cock, and he was known to spy on her.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Lord Lucan was known to spy on the house. He was always there, and that's what he said. So this woman, she had a very tumultuous relationship with her ex-husband, who says she was a slut. He was in the army, where I'm sure they learned to be. Well, Kent, you probably learned how to kill someone with a pipe.
Yeah, or anything within reach.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, there we go. Fuck. I don't think it's so unusual. So anyways, this Lord Lucan guy, he goes to his friend. He says, I'm going to tell you all this shit later. And then he said, okay, I'll tell you now. And then he told him about passing by, saw the guy. And he said, I got to get fucking out of here because they're not going to believe me because she's a fucking nut. My wife is a nut. And then he just took off. Now, they found his car about 10 miles down the road in the fucking middle of nowhere. There's nothing there. There's no water. There's no bodies of water. There's no mountain or cliffs to jump off. Nothing. It's just abandoned. And that were it. That was the last time he was ever seen. There have been people who've said there's been sightings of him.
Whoa.
But he's never been seen again. Now, people have come up with photographs and stuff that look exactly like him in fucking France and, living the high life and with hot fucking broads and whatnot. And he looks like Brad Pitt, so that's not totally unbelievable. But, and he was eventually declared dead in absentia in 2016.
Jesus.
And people consider this the most mysterious fucking disappearance. It's just so fucked up. It's so crazy. And everybody who knew him said there is no way. And I know, because I know you guys are jaded because you're doing true crime all the time. I know you're jaded, both of you.
You know what I'm going to say?
I know what you're going to say, but you're going to let me fucking
I'm
finish
going
first.
to.
So sit the fuck down. And they said that he's a gentle, soft-spoken guy, and there is no fucking way he would have murdered this broad. And why would he kill the fucking nanny? That's the thing. Why would he kill the fucking nanny? He was closer to the wife. If he's coming for the wife.
Yeah, true.
Like, why would he kill the nanny? And the nanny has a string of fucking lovers. By her husband's own account, she was putting the shit out there. And so there's a possibility that she pissed a few people off.
Do you think that maybe, because I can see looking at Victoria.
You mean Veronica?
And then looking at the nanny, like maybe it's dark in there.
Nah.
They're about the
I ain't
same
buying
size. Maybe the intended target wasn't hit.
I think she got in the way.
What, you think the nanny got in the
Yeah, I
way?
think the nanny got in the way of the wife. But this is what makes it a mystery.
The wife is fucking blonde, though. The wife is blonde. I mean, she's got the porcelain complexion, where the domestic, the nanny, she's dark, and it wasn't that fucking dark. I mean, it wasn't fucking dark. She's going down to make a cup of fucking tea.
She's dishwater blonde.
What's that mean?
Like, not like, Reese Witherspoon blonde. She's more like
Reese Witherspoon? What the fuck, Kent?
light blonde. Like, from a distance, you'd have to squint and be like, is that a blonde or a brunette?
No, I don't know. The pictures I've seen of her are really... are you talking about the nanny or the...
Talking about Victoria.
I mean, Veronica. Veronica, Kent. She was light blonde. But,
Okay.
who could say that's apples and oranges? But I don't think there was a mistake. I mean, I don't think in any way... I mean, she was down... He killed her in the basement kitchen. It was well lit.
Okay.
Dishwater blonde. That's like from Kent's part of the world, eh?
Yeah, you can fucking tell, eh, Kent? Fuck. So let me hear. What do you guys think of here? I mean, what are your theories? Come on, fucking earn your fucking supper.
Who wants to go first? You want to go for Kent? You go ahead.
So, first off, I think, and this isn't really like me speculating, but I do want to point out how ridiculous it is, how stupid rich people are, because Lord Lucan here, which, by the way, Lord Lucan sounds like a supervillain from the Star Wars universe, but Lord Lucan
I was waiting to see how long you mentioned Star Wars.
He's playing with one right now. We can see his video. It's fucking unbelievable.
sitting in a sandbox in his underwear.
Yeah, I mean, fuck. He's supposed to record inside, Kent.
This figure has so much articulation. Lord Lucan was trying to spy and be secretive in an Aston Martin, which is the most non-conspicuous vehicle on Earth. So he's like trying to like lay low and spy, but he's sitting inside a silver Aston Martin. And as somebody from the South, if you're trying to blend in with the public, you got to go with like a 98 Chevy Cavalier.
Yeah.
or something and not a silver Aston Martin.
Well, the thing is, the thing is, Kent, is the part of town that this is in London, in the richest area, that is blending in. I mean, if you were
That's fair.
if you were in a shitty car, you'd stand out. I mean, I used to bang a broad that lived in that area, and I'd go stay at her place, and I will fucking walk around the streets. I'd go to get some fucking milk or something, and then they would look at me like a fucking criminal.
Yeah.
Because these people, they just, and we're really fucking weird. Just a quick story here, and I'll let you finish your theory, Ken, is that I remember living with this girl, and like I said, it was living in Chelsea, a very upscale, same areas where this happened. And these guys, I would see these guys, and I swear to fucking God, if you want to hear something faggy, these guys would wear these fucking velvet fucking shoes that look like slippers, and they would have their initials on each slipper, like their first name on one slipper and their last name on the other slipper.
Okay.
And they'd be velvet slippers. They would look like slippers, but they would wear them like shoes. So they would be in the bars at night wearing it. And we would go out to dinner, and I'd come back to the table and I'd say, "You see those fucking fags? There's fucking fags everywhere. This is the faggiest thing I've ever seen in my life. They got the fucking initials on their fucking slippers."
Right.
And how is this possible that these guys don't get their fucking heads kicked in?
Yeah.
That's so
And
fucking
she said to
faggy.
me, and she said to me, because this is what they wear here. They don't need to leave this area. And if you're not wearing those faggy slippers here, you're the fag.
True.
You're the minority here, buddy.
Yeah. So that's why everybody were looking at me like I was the fucking kitchen staff, because I weren't wearing those slippers with the initials on them.
Oh, man.
So continue with your theory, Kent.
You fag.
Oh, well,
you're at the part where you figured his car was inconspicuous, and where I corrected you. So that's where you're at now.
yeah, sorry, I was just trying to, we just broke the record for most times the word fag has been used in a podcast in the last 15 years. So we're already off to we're breaking records. It's a pilot episode. We're breaking records, which
I'm not sure if that was something we set out to do, but continue, Kent.
I honestly think that this rich asshole probably, it's like Jack said, he went in to kill Victoria.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that the nanny got in the way somehow.
Yeah.
And the nanny was killed. Victoria took some blows to the head.
Veronica.
And this isn't new. We've seen this in true crime before. As people take blows to the head, they're confused about the crime itself when they do come to, and when after the dust settles, because they've been knocked around a bit. This is so common in Kentucky.
Okay.
And that's half the reason for the knocking around in cases here. Try to get them to forget.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
I think that after he killed Victoria and probably thought after he killed the nanny and probably thought he killed Victoria,
Veronica.
he
Kent.
fled and either killed himself or vanished into the population to live out his years on a beach somewhere in Nigeria or something.
Okay, but don't you think that it, and I'll get to you in a second, Jack. But don't you think it was ill-planned? For me, if that were the case, I think that if he were planning to kill her, I think he would have transferred some money. He wouldn't have left his passport there. He would have, you know what I mean? I think he would have done it better.
But don't you also feel like there was probably a bit of conflict of interest in the investigation itself?
How do you mean?
We're talking about a royal family, right?
Yeah, well, the Earl of Lucan, so yeah, I guess they're connected for sure.
I would say that the investigation wasn't exactly done by the book.
Yeah.
It's like Hillary Clinton has killed how many people, and she's still out politicking? When you have money and power, you don't have to abide by the same rules, or you're not investigated by the same standards.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you there. So you think the husband's done it then?
I think he's done it, and we probably don't know the full extent of information regarding the case because that's never been made public. And it'll be made public in another 100 years or so when everyone involved is dead. And then they're like, oh, just for the record, we covered this up a while back, but you're young. You don't care. It happened 50, 100 years ago. So now we can get away with it, that kind of thing.
Okay. Luna, what's your thoughts?
I just think it's a mystery because they did think it to some degree, and I think possibly they sent the hitman in. The hitman might have got mixed up at this point is what I'm thinking. The hitman did the job on the one and not so much on the other. I mean, it would make sense to me to think you hit the initial target and then there was collateral damage with somebody getting involved, and maybe he just did a 1-2 number on the main target accidentally and did the real deal on the wrong target. Possibly, right? But this is a... Because the wife who survived, didn't she say that my husband got a hitman to come after me? That's what she was.
That's what she said. So I mean, I'm with you on that, Luna. I think it was a hitman because I don't think these people ever do it themselves.
No.
They don't want to get the fucking initial fucking ferry slippers dirty.
Right. So if a hitman goes in, he meets the maid first, just goes bananas on her. The wife gets spooked and is able to get out of the house as she's getting bashed in the head. But once she's out of the house and to the bar, he's like, fuck this thing is burnt. Maybe it's not a mix-up, it's just who he hit first and went to that. And then when it comes to him disappearing, to me it's clear as day that he has connections and he was able to do so in whatever way his connections worked.
Exactly. And I mean, this guy's personal, I mean, there was some, I mean, let me just add a little bit to it. Now, at this time, he sanctioned the sort of the sale of all his assets, so it would settle all of his debts. So that, in some ways, and he put his friend as the
beneficiary.
No, exactly. Well, as the one who controls it. It's not attributor. What is it? Fucking
power of attorney. Power of attorney.
Yeah, I gave his friend power of attorney to sell off all his stuff to settle his debts. So that does point to the fact that he killed himself.
Yeah. I don't think I'm with you on that, DEADBUG. I like the idea of him being somewhere and that he's been spotted with like good-looking women, that he actually got away.
Well, he has been spotted, yeah. I mean, and that's true. And like I said, you never know with these guys. They got some Swiss account or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, connections beyond connection. And you know what? The leaving the trail behind of not the passport not being taken and certain things not being liquidated lends to the idea that he is actually gone and stops people from searching for him so much. So it would be smart to do that, to leave those.
Like yes. It's a red herring. You mean he's putting laying down a false trail.
Right.
I bet when they went into that apartment, the passport and everything was laid neatly out on the kitchen table.
Right.
Yeah, that is pretty too obvious almost, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like if you're gonna set people on the wrong trail.
Yeah, I mean, you could probably call this almost a perfect crime if he did indeed get away, although the imperfection of it is that the wife survived. That's a really imperfect part of this.
Yeah, I mean that's my whole problem. The only real problem with it is that he hated his fucking wife and he didn't fucking waste her. And then he went in to check the fuck. Like, I just don't know why he didn't finish the fucking job. Like, I would have fucking killed her first.
Right.
And then probably raped the nanny.
Yeah, and that's why I'm looking at the hitman and saying the hitman blew it. He got confused or some way or just fucking.
See, that's why I think the hitman, that's what I think. There's confusion, like which one's fucking, which one's who's who.
Yeah.
So he kills the nanny thinking it's Veronica. Mm-hmm. And then he's got to finish the job off with Veronica as well. And this is where it gets all messy.
Well, the nanny likely sounded an alarm in that situation, right? So say the nanny screams out, the wife's on the run, and it just got all fucked up. But then that's the whole fucking thing about Lucan saying he came in and he interrupted it. Yeah, right. Well, I don't believe that at all. Yeah. Because he would have fought for his innocence, wouldn't he? Especially because he's got fucking tons of money. I mean, it's pretty fucking convenient. You're spying on your it's his ex-wife? Or is his wife? It's his wife. He's spying on her. Is his wife, yeah, the separate. Spying on her, and he sees a guy fucking attacking her. I mean, I think he's out front waiting for the hitman to finish the job so he can drive him away and make sure the job's done if he's outside at all. And that, or just go in and say, "Oh my God, what happened? Oh, this is terrible. What a mess." Right. So, geez, honey, don't die. Right. He's entering scene left or whatever, right? And his part in his play that they played out. Interesting story, DEADBUG. Fuck, you came with the heat. You acted like you didn't have a story when we first fucking started here. It's a big one.
I can't believe I've never heard of this.
Yeah, well, it's an interesting one, and I mean, and still the mystery. Like, and as a footnote, here's something funny. It's just how rich people are. Okay, in 2018, Baroness Lucan, also known as Veronica, she passed away. And of course, this happens to everybody, even when you're filthy rich. And she never left any of her 3 kids any money. She had a fortune, a fucking fortune. She donated it all to a place called Shelter here, which is like a charity for the poor. And you know why? You know what her reasoning was?
What?
Because my children are ill-mannered.
I love this woman.
Good for her.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah. So, and I looked up her kids. They look like a bunch of little fucking pricks. They're all barons and earls. And so she just basically said, "Fuck you." I mean, they're rich anyways, but
Wearing their slippers around. Fuck them.
yeah, with their fucking initials on it. You know, I bet you're gonna probably get a pair of those now, Kent.
I've got my Waffle House slides. I don't need anything else.
So there you have it. There's the first story on the first episode of Grimm. Now I'm going to take the baton and I'm going to hand it over to Luna. Go ahead, Jack. Go ahead. Over to Canada, the land of maple syrup.
All right, okay, Canada then. So, Kent, you'll remember that we did a podcast called Hugs over there on 1159 a long time ago.
We did.
And, right, and I...
Sorry, continue.
And I apparently fucked it up because it was supposed to be positive stories, and I thought it was funny to come with a story that would make you feel like you needed a hug rather than you were giving a hug.
We weren't good at that.
No, I just thought it was funny. I thought it worked, to be honest with you, but what do I fucking know?
I'm going to go on the record here and say very little.
So I'm going to kind of do that with this. Because Canada doesn't have a whole lot going on, although I'll get to some darkness, I got to do a 3-pronged attack here, and they'll be short stories. And I'm going to start with this first one that happened last spring in Vancouver, BC, the Dunbar area of Vancouver, which, from what I can tell, is a nice section, not overrun by homeless drug addicts like other parts of Vancouver. I'm sure you guys are aware that they pretty much legalized drugs here, and it became a zombie apocalypse out there in Vancouver.
What?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like a lot of places these days, especially in the States, Philadelphia, Seattle.
They're trying to pull back now, but the toothpaste is out of the tube. It's going to be really difficult.
Yeah, in order to start pulling back, they would have to admit wrongdoing. They would have to admit that they were wrong, and that's never going to happen. So you got to double down.
Yeah, it's a real mess. So this area is not quite like that. In fact, from everything I've read, it seems to be affluent and occupied by stubborn boomer types. They say that's from Reddit. That's their point of view on it. Stubborn boomers unwilling to sell their homes for a reasonable profit so that younger people can buy at an affordable price. This is what everybody complains about here, is that the boomers are...
So because they should not sell their place. Because they owe strangers something.
Right. Like they shouldn't hold on to the property that they've invested in knowing that it would exceed in value. They should just sell it at the price that they bought it for back in 1988.
As if the people that are wanting that property would do the same thing if they were in that situation.
Well, that seems to be the general viewpoints now of this whole generation
that's true.
of people.
Yeah.
That they should be given something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, everything I found on Reddit was complaints about how this area that we're visiting is resistant to liberal policies. So what I'm trying to say is that I think you two would like this place. I think both.
Sounds good.
And DEADBUG, they got cupcakes, which is what this story revolves around. Well, actually, I should have put that Kent's way. Kent, they got cupcakes.
No, I'm sold. You had me at, you can still say the word fag there, but now that I know I can also get cupcakes.
Yeah. It's your kind of place.
Utopia.
So, Sweet Something is this cupcake shop's name we're going to visit. And in the middle of the night in this normally safe community, it had its front door glass kicked in, followed by the shadow of a man entering the locally adored establishment. And this is all on surveillance video. So on the surveillance, you can see what looks to be a young man in his early 20s. To me, he looks like he's stoned. People say he's probably drunk. To me, he just looks like he's stoned. He's probably on mushrooms or something. he's not stumbling around. He's just enamored by everything. He's like, wow, this is a cupcake shop. I love cupcake. You can see him. It's like Kent broke into a pawn shop that only had Star Wars figurines in it or something, you know?
Or cupcakes.
Yeah. Made me snort. All right. And he's walking around, not stumbling, and he's wearing a big pair of orange sunglasses. And as he enters, the young man turns back to look at the mess of glass that he's made on the floor, and he seems to be upset by it. So he's not in a mental health break, or he doesn't seem crazy in any kind of way. He just seems like he regrets what he's done. He's just a kid, stoned in my opinion. And that's proven when he begins searching around the shop, sits down on a stool for a while, just kind of like he's a dunce in the corner, mad at himself. And then he gets up and he finds a mop, which is not the tool for the job. I mean, you need a broom, fuckhead. But he finds a mop, and he begins slowly mopping up this mess of glass, doing a terrible job, just pushing it all around. Next, the dude begins perusing the cupcakes. Once that job's done, he's like, oh yeah, fuck, I'm here for cupcakes. And he starts collecting half a dozen of the chocolate champagne cupcakes that they have.
This definitely points to drugs, doesn't it? I mean, he's got the munchies.
Absolutely. He's putting them in a box, DEADBUG. He's putting them into a bag, and then he carefully exits through the broken glass door. So, this whole robbery in Vancouver took a little over an hour. It's all on surveillance. And when the store owner sees the surveillance tape, she shares it on TikTok, of course. And then she calls the police. Uh-huh. So this results in the news being aware of it and the video going viral. And the shop actually starts making champagne chocolate cupcakes with orange sunglasses like the guy was wearing in the surveillance video. They're on top of the champagne chocolate cupcakes that they sell that he stole. And they're trying to make a buck off of it.
So, I mean, just let me interrupt you here, Jack. And if I've missed it, I apologize. So what has he do we know why he's busted in there? And this may be my listening skills. Do we know why he's busted in there? And besides cupcakes, what has he taken?
Just cupcakes. Just cupcakes.
So he's now, by the surveillance footage, because I haven't seen the surveillance footage, and please, Ken, you chime in after me if you have any questions, but did he bust in there knowing, do you think he busted in there, does the footage point to the fact he busted into this place knowing there were cupcakes in there? I know there's a big sign, but do you think that was his purpose, or he went in there and then he was doing something else and then he said, oh, cupcakes?
Dude, he walked past that place all stoned, saw it was a cupcake shop, looked in the window for a little bit, and then he started running up to the window, banging into it with his shoulder before eventually just deciding to kick it in with his foot, is what it shows.
Okay, so so his main purpose is to get in there and get these delicious cupcakes.
I'm watching the surveillance video right now, and this dude, you can tell when he's walking by before he breaks in, he is hammered drunk.
Okay, maybe I got it wrong. I don't know what drunk looks like.
Look in the mirror, buddy.
But his for me, it sounds like he's got the munchies, and by Jack's description, because I'm not watching the security video, his main purpose was to get in there to get these delicious cupcakes.
Yes. One thing I forgot to mention is that he took selfies of himself with the store phone. The store phone was there on top of the cupcake display case, and he started taking pictures of himself with the phone.
Is this a special phone that would necessitate or negate having its picture taken, like it was like a fucking teddy bear a teddy bear phone or something special, or was it just a normal run-of-the-mill phone?
It was a normal run-of-the-mill phone.
So there's no reason he should be taking selfies with it.
No, he just found it, and they say it's the store phone that they had just left on the counter.
This guy's a criminal mastermind.
So it's clearly fucking wasted.
Yeah.
I mean, this sounds like drugs to me.
Me too.
I mean, maybe he might be drinking, but only drugs make you take selfies with a fucking phone.
Dude, I agree. And it wraps up quick. I mean, the result of all this was that he called the shop after seeing himself on TikTok and on the news, and he apologized to the owner and offered to pay for the damages. It was $30 worth of cupcakes, And I think the window would cost probably $500 or something. So he offered, and the store owner refused to accept that. She also refused to press charges, and now they're friends. She was just thankful for the press that he ended up giving her. He even gave the store owner his sunglasses, the orange sunglasses, and she plans to, quote, rock them while she sells cupcakes.
What does that mean? Rock them.
She's going to wear them. She's going to rock them.
Oh, she's going to wear them. She's going to wear. Let me ask you a question here, Jack. Was she hot? Is there a chance that they became lovers?
Oh, they're the same color, I think. A little tan.
Is she as tasty as her cupcakes, Jack?
I'd say no. She's plump. She's
tasty.
plump as a cupcake.
Okay. Would you go down on her if you were high?
I wouldn't go down on her, but I would accept other favors.
Would you let her go down on
Yes.
you? If you were high, you'd let her go down on you. You would let her suck you off.
Yeah, if I was dead sober, I would. But I would.
You would if you're sober as well.
Yeah,
I would let
we've
Kent
had
do
this
that,
conversation
fair
in the
enough,
back
so.
of a car, actually. What was it we were talking about, Jack, whenever Tracy and Sam were up front having a completely normal conversation? We were arguing over,
I don't know. It was
if somebody put a gun to our head and said we had to suck each other's dick, would we do it or not? Yeah.
right. Exactly.
Stone sober.
Leave me out of this homo conversation. Jesus.
I also, by the way, have a pair of
All right,
slippers
so
that have my initials on them.
You just spelt your last name wrong on the other slipper, though. Now continue, Jack. I know we're digressing here, and we're upsetting you to no
Yeah, I
end.
know.
But so
fucking losing it here. No, that's it. Deadbug, I have another one, so I need to hit you guys with 3 in a row. But is there anything you guys want to say about that? I mean, that is a crime story out of Canada. If you ever heard one, it didn't happen at Tim Hortons.
I like that story.
Yeah.
I like that story. That's a nice change, and hopefully we can see more of those sort of stories in this series. Because for me, that's a good one. It's a happy ending. There's no blood, there's goose, and it's one of those kind of interesting.
This is way different than it was with Hugs,
It is.
Kent? I got chastised for coming with a curveball over there. Oh, God.
You're never going to get a hug off me. I fucking guarantee you that, you two fruits.
All right,
I do think that this lady that owns this cupcake shop is a marketing genius.
Yeah, she did the right thing, maybe.
Oh, my God. I mean, how much of a currency has she gained by not charging this guy?
Yeah, she's respected for it, and she's right. It did bring a lot of business and a lot of purview on her company there. So
free publicity, fucking galore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You can't really. I mean, you could buy that, but not that type of publicity. The notoriety of it, you can't buy that. So I was expecting to be trashed for that, so I was going to say, let me give it another go, but that went better than I thought. Let me give you one that's an actual crime story here, quick, guys. So in Canada here, a 23-year-old international student from India, studying in Canada through Lambton College in Sarnia, Ontario, which you might be familiar with, Deadbug. Sarnia.
Of course.
It's kind of a shithole.
Of course, Sarnia. I've never been there, but it's it's well known. You always hear it in the news.
Yeah. So this Indian student, he just decided he wanted to go back to India, but he didn't have the funds for the plane ticket. So he chucked a brick through a window of a shelter he was staying at, telling police and a court-appointed attorney that he did it and he'd do it again and again until he was deported. What he's trying to do is he's trying to get a free ride home. By getting intentionally deported. So 23-year-old Alwyn Jason from Kerala, India, was released the next day, but arrested again around 3 p.m. at a Tim Hortons, where he was harassing patrons and being a general pain in the ass to the point where he was arrested again. And the court at this point doesn't know what to do with him. They've seen him twice in fucking 24 hours. And this is all kind of happening right now. This is a current story. But it sounds like the college is going to fly him home back to India to avoid deportation here. And a spokesperson for the college had this to say, check this out, quote, "We are committed to our students' well-being and have processes in place that provide emergency food and lodging, mental health supports, immigration services, and repatriation when necessary." Sounds like in mission accomplished for Alwyn Jason of India, he's going home, boys, because they don't want him to suffer in any way for this. they're going to give him what he wants. And that's the end of that story. Came up a little lame there.
How do you spell his first name?
Alwin.
Why? You want to friend him on Facebook, Kent?
And his last name is Jason, Jaison. You imagine DEADBUG throwing a brick through a window because you're in a country you don't want to be in to get fucking flown back home, and they do it for you.
That's a sweet deal. I mean, a lot of shit like that happens, though, doesn't it? I mean, a lot of shit. I mean, you hear about it all the time.
Yeah. I have one more for you guys. I'm thinking I could have covered Robert Picton here because he was beaten to death in prison recently, but that was just too much for me to fucking cover, you know?
Yeah, no, I've thought about covering that too, and I thought that's just fucking too much of a, yeah.
Yeah, big pain in the ass. Kent, are you trying to look that guy up? You're not going to find him, I bet.
I found articles on the story. I couldn't find pictures of him.
No, they won't get a picture. They won't even tell you he's from India. It's Canada.
Oh, yeah. That's a good point.
They don't talk about...
He'll be on a fucking stamp.
Yeah, he's probably a hero.
Celebrating him.
So my last little story kind of goes to all that, and I'm a little scared to even tell you guys this because it could fucking go off the rails. But so, all right, this one occurs in the GTA, in the Greater Toronto Area. That's what they call it, the GTA, and it's funny because it involves Grand Theft Auto. And have you ever put that together, DEADBUG? Because you're familiar with the GTA, like the series of video games, Grand Theft Auto, GTA, and there's a lot of car thefts there recently.
Where, in Canada?
Yeah, this is what I'm going to talk about.
I mean, I'm familiar with GTA. I've never played it. I don't know anything about it or anything. I'm not a gamer myself.
Right. Kent, you're more than familiar, I'm sure, right?
Yeah, the fat guy. Yeah, he knows GTA. Yeah, definitely. Vice City was the best one in the franchise, I believe. And
I agree. So Toronto and the Greater Toronto Area, the GTA, has turned into GTA when it comes to vehicle theft. And there have been some violent home invasions in the past couple of years. There's a car theft every 40 minutes in Toronto these days. There was 12,000 car thefts last year in the GTA, the Greater Toronto Area, just areas around Toronto, like where.
So when they say Greater Toronto, we talking Brampton, Mississauga,
where you grew up,
Thornhill.
Where you grew up,
yeah, Thornhill,
where I grew up,
places like that. Etobicoke.
Yep, that's right. Peel region, places like that. So, and in the GTA, home invasions have increased by 400% in a year. The reason why is that criminal syndicates out of Montreal, largely comprised of immigrants from what we now call developing countries, because you can't call them third world countries anymore. You have to call them developing countries.
Fuck that shit, Luna.
These gangs that have developed from all the immigration.
Why?
You can't. I've taken flack for saying third world countries recently. You have to call them developing countries, DEADBUG, just so you know.
I've been calling fucking third world country. I did something the other day on India, and I called them godless savages. I wonder if that will
I don't think
piss anybody.
I don't think you can do that. Yeah.
I already
it looks
did
like
it.
You did
That's already. I already released that last week. I'm not going to go back.
You just
and
can't use racial slurs.
Yeah, I just said godless savages. Actually, no one said. No one said anything bad in the comment section. A few people laughed and said godless savages, and then they did like laughing emojis. I'm not joking.
It's like doing a podcast with somebody from 1857.
Yeah. So these gangs, what they're doing is they have their leaders bring young recruits off the streets of Montreal, and they drive them over to the GTA or Toronto before dropping them off in areas with desired vehicles that they've told these kids to go steal for them. And then they escort them back to Montreal. So
why Montreal?
I'll tell you. So the stolen vehicles, they're driven back to Montreal into the...
Because for anybody who doesn't know the drive, I mean, it's about 3 hours. It's about a 3.5 hour drive, isn't it?
Easy. Could be 4.5, buddy. I went one time from Toronto to there. I think it was 4 or 5.
It is more, yeah, because it's about 3 hours on train.
Yeah. So what they do is the gang leader, or, you know, not the actual leader, but one of the higher up guys will collect kids off the street for their gang, drop them off in a place in Toronto where they want them to steal cars. They get the car, and then they escort them back to Montreal, to the corrupt port of Montreal, where it's known that bikers have infiltrated and made it easy for the cars to be shipped out to these developing countries where there's a connection to sell them there, like places like Africa and the Middle East mainly.
Where there are godless savages residing.
So the recruits who steal the cars are usually too young to be seriously charged if caught. That's why they use youngsters.
Like the Foot Clan
man.
in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
This is smart. This is smart. I've heard of these sort of gangs before they get these kids to do it, other crimes as well. Because like I said, they can't be charged.
Right. And what they do, DEADBUG, is they pay them a bonus when they're arrested and come out if they keep quiet. They're like, you could get arrested. If you do, keep quiet, and we'll pay you when you come out. We'll give you a bonus for your trouble.
And they're so protected when they get arrested because they can't be interviewed without an adult there. They can't be interviewed with a lawyer there. And they have so many rights. They've got time to get their whole story together.
Yeah.
Can't be interviewed without Trudeau there.
Oh, God. Trudeau would just be like, hey, guys, we all make mistakes. Don't worry about it.
Nobody said a slur while that was all going on, did they?
Suck me off. Suck me off. Suck me off.
Yeah. He's taking youngsters off the streets himself just for that purpose.
I bet he has.
Since his wife left him. So, the kids, here's a few things that happen, man. When they're driving back, they can't drive half the time. So there's just straight up collisions because they can't drive. We're talking 14-year-olds. And they're from developing countries.
Oh, third world countries for people who aren't trying to be pussies. But continue.
They're also motivated to impress their gang leaders or this gang they're trying to get into. So when cops come up behind them and catch them, there's chases. And it puts the public in massive danger. And I hadn't mentioned yet, but there's violent encounters. So they're often armed, unlike average Canadians. We're not even allowed to be armed with handguns or anything at this point. So they're hijacking cars with kids in them. There's been a few instances where a kid has jumped into a car, forced a person out with a gun, and then driven away with their kids.
No, dude. No.
Yeah.
I'm not getting out of that car. No.
I know, you don't get out of that car.
Not without my kid. You're going to have to kill me.
Yeah. It's happened, though. It's happened. And so what I'm trying to say is they're not just stealing cars from driveways. It's carjackings and home invasions to get the vehicle they've been dropped off to steal. So they're going after Land Rovers. They're going after a particular pickup truck. It's a Chevy, and there's a particular Honda, I think a CRV or something they're going after that they know they can really easily sell in these developing countries. They want the pickup trucks in these developing countries because they're fucking always driving around, I don't know, what the fuck do they drive around in those countries? I don't know, 15 of their friends in the back, to go work.
Yeah, probably some sort of Jeep or Land Rover or something. It's just one of those fucking three-wheel
The
bikes.
Toyota Hilux.
Yeah.
No, they're like the three-wheel fucking bikes, aren't they? There's fucking 12 of them all riding on each other's shoulders.
The Toyota Hilux, isn't it called the Helix? I'm not sure about that.
That's the truck I always saw in Afghanistan. They love those fucking things. You can mount a 50 cal in the back of them easily. You can fit 36 people in them. When they hit an IED, they basically vaporize, so there's little cleanup. It's really, really beneficial in all aspects.
Nice.
Wow. They also have devices that can detect your key fob signal in your house and mimic it, so they can just unlock your vehicle from outside your house. And people are being told to use Faraday pouches to put your keys in, so it protects them with this Faraday pouch, which is like a little cage that holds in the electronic signal. It can protect it from, say a solar flare if it would ever happen or something. But people are being told to do this. So the home invasion aspect has become so real and frightening that Toronto, the GTA, so these guys are kicking in doors and just coming in and getting people out of bed and forcing them to give them their keys, robbing them, maybe even raping fucking women. Not that they're sharing those stories. I think, though, in their defense, they're really just there for the keys. They come in, get the fucking keys, they need the vehicle, and they're doing their job for their gang, right, and getting out of there. So the police, this is happening so much in the GTA that the police have publicly advised recently that the public leave their keys close to the front door so that thieves breaking in can get what they want and leave the residents alone. That's the solution.
That is so Canada.
You guys have to apologize for making theft hard.
That is so Canada, isn't it? Like for women, if there's a rape epidemic going on, the police tell the women, don't wear underwear.
Right. Yeah. Don't fight. Don't wear underwear.
Fucking go along with it is easier for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's solutions they're trying to talk about, like in the future with AI. I mean, I don't want to get into that right now, but they're talking about facial recognition or fingerprint tech on vehicles going forward. But in my opinion, I think that at that point they'll just drag your face to the vehicle or cut off a finger, right? They're going to figure that out.
Yeah, well, exactly. I mean, that's exactly what they've seen them do, like cutting off people's fingers, cutting off their hands. I mean, there's that fucking incident. Wasn't there that incident in Thailand or something where that woman brought a dead guy with her to the bank?
Wow, yeah.
And pretended to have him sign a document to his inheritance to her. And he was sitting there in one of those little meat in a bucket cripple-mobiles, and she was like fucking just driving it. And she was making it look like he was awake, but he just wasn't that lucid. And they show the security footage shows this guy. He's a meat in a bucket sitting there, and she's holding his hand at the bank signing it. And they got to call the cops. But I mean, like I said, this is the sort of thing people are going to start doing.
Dude, there was one in the States where it was like a weekend at Bernie's murder, they called it, where they took advantage. Two women were living with this old man and kind of living off of his life. And when he died, they brought him to all these banks and took out all of his money.
I think I remember. Yeah, that's right. And they had the pictures, didn't they, with this dead guy?
Yeah, because they were pulling up to the drive-through ones.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, he's right here. And he's sleeping.
Yeah. And they were sort of like fucking making him wave and do all that shit. That is fucked up.
Yeah. So there's a few, vehicle immobilizers can be installed, but these criminals, they're tech savvy and fearless. They're emboldened to this point as well by their success. They're saying that the technology that they're creating to avoid this type of thing, they are ahead of it, these guys. They're everywhere. I mean, there are so many criminal-minded people in the tech world at this point that there's not much that you can do. They're creating the stuff themselves, and they can just hand it over to their overlord bosses. Like tracking tags can be used, but there have been reports of the process being too slow to catch stolen vehicles in time to track down that tag, and often the tag tracks to the ocean or to like fucking Africa. And yeah, your vehicle's there, but do you want it at that point? Just take the insurance. So the root of the problem is obviously the quality of immigrants being let into Canada, as well as the amount of immigrants. But if you speak up about that out here, you'll face a stiffer penalty than the gun-wielding car thieves themselves. That's in closing. And that'll do it for my stories, guys. That was 3.
Aside from that, beautiful country.
3. Well, I mean, it's the way the world's going. I mean, you can say that Canada is, is the forefront of it, but you can't say that they're the only ones. I mean, you go to Cali and it's almost unrecognizable. And Vancouver.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, it's something else. And I mean, London, the criminals, they rule. I mean, it's just, I won't even go in anymore. It's just, you want to go somewhere on the weekend. It's just not fucking worth it. The Palestine protests make it you just can't get anywhere.
Are you saying it's dangerous there? But they don't have guns.
Yeah, it's wow.
They do. The criminals do.
But there's laws.
I mean, it's worse. It's knife crime. It's the knife crime.
Oh, yeah.
It's the knife crime. And in some ways, I'd rather be shot than stabbed, hacked up.
Same.
It's not a pleasant experience. They showed some guy at a train station, security guard there, trying to. Kid was fucking around inside the train station harassing people, and the guard went and he told him to get the fuck out, and you could see it on the security footage. And this kid, and they're just fucking kids, 17, 18 years old, of a certain minority group, came up and just fucking stabbed this guy about 17 times in the face. And it would happen so fast, it looked like he was punching him.
Right.
And it was so fast. It was just like,
He does that.
right in the face. And it's fucking horrible. It's fucking horrible. And it's just, at least someone pulls out a gun, you see it, you know it. It's just like, it's fucking scary to go down that way. You know?
That's being shot and stab's scary to me as well. I agree with you, DEADBUG. But I've had some dreams about being shot. I've had a gun fucking shoved in my mouth one time, which I've talked about before, and it's all terrifying. People will say like getting shot is like at least it's boom, it's over. There's so much fear involved beforehand. So let me just say something, and I don't want to sound like a fucking white knight or a sympathizer, or like I'm trying to clean up a little mess that I made there. I meant what I said, but it has to be said that when you bring over just a fucking millions of people from difficult countries, like third world countries, developing countries, these guys don't have half a chance, and they have at all, but they have a full chance when it comes to crime. So you're a 14-year-old who could barely speak English on the street, and all your brothers and your cousins who are here and your uncles are involved in organized crime, and they ask you to go and fucking steal a vehicle, and they'll give you fucking $1,000. How could they say no? It needs to. They just need to do a better job of bringing people in that are motivated to work and be contributed citizens, rather than just thrown into a fucking population where they don't fit in and they start to just behave the way that they did back in their developing country, because that's what's happening. They're bringing the crime from those countries here. This is what they know, and it's easy. It's easy.
Well,
pickings
the number one thing
in a place
the
like
number
Toronto.
one thing now, and this is happening everywhere, and I was just reading this morning, is coming from Nigeria, which is no shock because of fucking the scams and the bullshit. If anybody's got eBay and have anybody who tried to sell a mobile phone on eBay, everybody has had a story about some Nigerian prince offering you fucking, $5,000 for the phone because it's a rare phone and he wants to buy it for his nephew who's graduating. The new scam from Nigeria, and this was just in the news this morning, is the sex things where they pretend that they're hot women, and they start messaging you on TikTok or whatever. Then they get you to send, and these are teenagers that they're targeting, because adults are usually generally a little more clued up. But teenagers, and they're getting them to send sexy pictures. So they'll send a sexy picture saying it's them, like, hey, I'm a hot girl. And then you send a sexy picture, or a picture you're jerking off or whatever, and then they start blackmailing you.
Yeah.
They've hacked into your computer.
Right.
Hey, if you don't give me this much, I'm going to...
Yeah.
Well, I just want to point out that adults can fall for this too, and that doesn't make them stupid.
Well,
yeah, you're one of them.
yeah, Kent knows.
Yeah, Kent's got a Nigerian prince on the line right now. He's fucking tapping
Kent's
away.
Just jerking his fucking meat right now, fucking giving him his bank code.
I also want to say that you guys were talking about getting stabbed a minute ago, and if I'm gonna, I would rather get shot as well. But if I'm gonna get stabbed, I would rather it be in my face. Because I've always wanted a really cool scar that went over my eye and down onto my cheek.
Right.
Well, I can tell you, and I'm not sure if I told you this one before, Jack, but I have been a victim of knife crime.
DEADBUG's wild, man.
No, I had someone try to rob me, and I beat them up. And I was with a girl, and I wanted to finish them off. I knocked them out. They went down, and I wanted to just fucking... He's down on the ground. My attitude... He was trying to get up. And my attitude is just keep going. Yeah. He's down. I'm just going to fucking kick his teeth out, stomp on his head a bit. But she was fucking crying and telling me not to...
Just a bit.
Yeah, not to do it, and he's had enough. So we turned around, and then about 2 seconds later, she screamed, watch out. And I turned around, and this guy fucking tried to cut my throat. And he swung his knife at me, and he sliced my face open. And being cut by a knife in the face is not a pleasant experience, because I looked at my face, and it opens up like a big vagina.
Yeah,
your muscles are very tight, and when they cut you, it fucking opens up like right up, and it is not a pleasant fucking experience. I look like a fucking monster. So at the end of the day, I would probably rather be shot, because it's it's quicker. I don't have to look at it.
DEADBUG, I don't want to make light at all of what you went through there, but I gotta say, like, when we were talking about low IQ girls you're with or high IQ girls, it's been my experience that the higher IQ girls I've been with, when I get into a situation like that, a fight, something like that, they tend to try to break it up and jump in, where the low IQ girls will just let me go.
Yeah.
Or they'll even jump in too. And you need them in
that
those
situation.
situations. The high IQ ones, they want to make it right. Yeah, they're trying to pull you away. It's like, get the fuck off me. You're fucking me up. Like you're leaving me open and you're distracting me.
Exactly.
I'm in
And
fight
I always
for
regret
life.
that moment because I listened to her and I stopped on this guy instead of finishing him off.
Yeah.
Like I said, I mean, for me, you finish him off. He's down. I mean, I didn't know he had a knife, but the point is, he's down. I knocked him out with the first blow. Finish him off. Stomp on his fucking head. You know what I mean? Like, make him fucking a retard.
Make sure.
It's just you don't.
I agree.
I walked away and look what happened. And then this guy, and then after to finish the story, I am fucking bleeding out. I'm fucking blood squirting out everywhere. And then this guy, because he's some fucking foreigner, he's fucking running away. Then he's running and jumping up and kicking me, and then running away. Then running up and jumping up and kicking me. You know how they do? They don't fight like fucking men. They fight like fucking girls. Like, what's all this fucking kicking? You know what I mean? And here I am. I'm just trying to stop myself from fucking bleeding out.
That's fucking crazy, man.
You know, so yeah, no, I'd rather get. I didn't know where we fucking were. We digressed there, but where were we?
It's great. It's a great story. Kent, go ahead. You must have something to say
Well,
about that.
I just feel like you're very fortunate that he didn't hit any tendons or anything, and you didn't end up with permanent Randy Travis face.
Well, he was gonna fucking cut my fucking throat. I mean, and if she hadn't have screamed, and I turned around and I pulled back. I mean, I didn't see it. I just saw a flashy silver thing coming at me, and he just got from under my chin up. You know, but he was trying to cut my fucking throat. And of course, this guy, I mean, well, if you know, one of those fucking countries that do it. So, but the long and the short of it is that these crimes. So these guys are heartless. So they get your details. They had an incident here where the kid said, "Please, just leave me alone. I've given you all I can. Please, if you keep going, I'm going to kill myself." And they said, "Kill yourself. We don't care."
Right.
And he killed himself because they don't care. And it turned out that these guys that are doing this in Nigeria, they're like 15, 16 years old, which is bringing me back to Jack's story, that they're trained. They're reading off a script. They're reading from a script. They've been trained to do this. They don't have the brains to do it themselves. They're reading from a script. And it's exactly what Jack said. They're from some poor country. They make nothing. And suddenly they're getting these big fucking paychecks.
Right. And it'll happen at a Russian stuff too, where they just have no respect. It's like they're living in a difficult situation. Are you going to cry about me sharing on your fucking social media, you jerking off, you stupid fuck? Give me all your money and give me all your parents' money too, is what happens, because the kid goes crying to their parents, hey, he's going to disgrace me in front of all my friends if we don't give them another $5,000.
Well, and it's so funny because I told this before on another podcast, but at the time, someone had contacted me, and it was really funny because you got to be careful because now everybody's looking to get money. And I got this fucking email and said, "Hello there. We've been watching you from your camera, and we have." It's so funny because you could tell this in one of those fucking banana boat countries because they say to me, "Goes, we have controversial footage of you masturbating." Yeah, no, that's what he said. We have video footage of you. We've been watching you for a couple of weeks, and we have footage of you masturbating to controversial footage, and we're going to send it to all your friends unless you pay us $10,000. And I was laughing to myself because, well, I mean, who cares if it's controversial footage? If you got footage of me masturbating, who cares what footage it's to? I'm still masturbating.
Right.
I could be masturbating to anything, but you've got footage of me masturbating. And then I thought to myself, so you're going to send it to my friends and everybody in my contacts? I don't know any of my contacts who, when they see a picture of me popping up, jerking off in front of the camera, they aren't going to instantly look away. There's no one who's going to go, "Oh, hey, look, it's a DEADBUG masturbating. Hey, honey, come here, get the kids." So, but there are those people, like you said, if you got a kid or something, they fall for those scams.
Yeah, sorry, Kent. You probably. I feel like I'm stepping in too much on Kent here, but I just picture my own son, like my 12-year-old boy, if he got caught. How
It's
mortified
sad.
he'd be. And him coming to me, it's very... Me, you fucking tell me that you caught me jerking off tranny porn or something like that, and you're going to share it with everybody, I'd be like, hey, here's my link to my Facebook. Show it to all of them, too. This is going to be
That's what I
great
say.
for the podcast.
Send me
It's
a copy
fucking
as
hilarious.
well. And number one, unless they got some high cut, like how are you going to show it to everybody? A split screen? So how are they going to know what I'm jerking off? You're just going to see a picture of me because my cock's below the desk line anyway. It's just me making funny faces for 3 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. I would just laugh at it because I put a little napkin over my camera every time I jerk off at my computer. I know they don't have that footage.
Nice. Well, I like the excitement of knowing they might have that footage.
I thought Kent was going to say I put a little napkin over my eyes when I jerk off.
So they can't see me.
To pretend, so I
So you
pretend I'm
can't
being
see.
held captive in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
It heightens my rectal response.
What's your go-to top-in porn search if you're trying to get off fast?
I'm not even gonna touch that
DEADBUG.
one because I might say unpopular things that might not go down well for people, but I don't watch porn, so
Yeah. Yeah. I've kind of laid off lately, too, so I'm going to bail out myself. Kent, go ahead, share. You brought it up.
yeah, we pull away from the table and Kent's just sitting there.
Well, I've got to do it since I asked you guys. If I'm trying to get done fast, probably type in something like friend's mom catches you masturbating.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And then she finishes you off. It's not bad.
Well, I've noticed these days with anything, because I do a series called Death by Porn, which is porn-related deaths, which totally turn me off porn, which are porn-related deaths. And it is getting harder and harder and harder to even find porn because so many fucking warnings come up. Are you sure you want to watch this?
Yeah.
Are you sure? This is blurred out. Are you sure? Just a warning. There could be virus. Like, it's like Google are making it so they don't want anybody to watch it. And I think eventually just watching basic porn will be like dark web shit.
Pornhub is actually illegal in Texas now.
Fucking insane.
And I know we've shit a lot on Canada in this episode, and I do want to point out that, yes, I know that violent crime is up, and people are getting burglarized, and vehicles are being stolen, people are getting their throats cut, and all that stuff. But what you are intentionally leaving out is that at the same time, the use of the N-word is down 300%. So it's like, you got to take the good with the bad.
There we go. I think the weird thing about, and I don't want this to make this a pornography episode, but I'm going to tell you something that I found out through life experience, that when you have daughters and they become teenagers, it becomes very difficult to watch anything like that. I can't even explain it. It just becomes weird. You have a different kind of respect level for women, and you read into things too much, and that's what happened to me. I mean, I just have teenage daughters, and you feel bad. You just feel bad. Dude,
I know Kent can speak to that because he has daughters. I don't, but I have to say, and this is going to show a real softness on my fucking side of things, but I'm fine with it. I stopped because as I've grown in my relationship with my girl, I've grown to really respect her just with having kids and just some of the stuff we've been through. And I can't even get it up for anybody. It's crazy, but it's just for her. Like, I'm focused on that relationship, and I don't want any weirdness, and it just doesn't work for me anymore. As I've gotten
Ken,
older.
I mean, your daughter isn't. I don't want to get too much in family things, but I mean, your daughter isn't a teenager.
No, my oldest is 9, and I would imagine that as they reach those ages, it will change. I joked about porn, but I don't. The truth of the matter is, I've never really been a big fan of porn. Anyway, I jerk off. I'm not saying that, but I've always been more of a fan of using my imagination.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like I said, I'm not trying to take any high and mighty stance here because I'm the furthest one from who could justify doing that. But I'm just saying, when you get a teenage daughter, it's different. You get this whole weird new thought process regarding women and young women and stuff. And I mean, I don't even look at teenage girls and say, oh, wow, she's really hot. It's just weird because I've got a teenage daughter.
Right. Hey, Ken, can you share with DEADBUG how you masturbate? I know we didn't want to be crude, DEADBUG, but you got to hear this. He doesn't use lube.
No lube, never have.
Wow.
That's gay. That's kind of gay, isn't it? Like
I like dry. I mean, I've got these masculine. They used to be like, rough hands, and there was just something about that felt primal.
Rough hands. That's fucked up.
That is fucked up. That's real faggy.
Oh, okay.
It was also easier for the fantasy.
Kent jerks off to himself.
So
Right.
I'm very open about how I feel about porn. I've talked about this. I don't think porn is a good thing. I think that in another between 10 and 20 years, you're going to see a massive spike of erectile dysfunction amongst youth.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's good for porn to be as accessible as it is now. And I think...
And the expectation they have
Exactly.
of what women should behave like when they're in that situation, right?
Well,
It's
I mean,
fucked up.
exactly, and then, like I said, and you'd be just shocked at how many deaths are sort of from it, and kids, and they're sort of. I mean, you know, when I was a kid, I mean, you had like the Playboy magazines and Penthouse and stuff like that. That was it, you know.
Yeah.
I think it starts out innocent.
You blast
at
off.
14 years old, you're just typing in boobs spelled B-O-B-S. But fast forward 5 years, and now you can't get off without seeing a Japanese girl shit in the asshole of an Islamic Muslim woman who's trying to escape the clutches of ISIS.
Yeah, well, exactly. I mean, it's
pretty
not
specific.
healthy. I mean, I think
I've
it's
seen it a million times.
I mean,
Deadbug, Kent's been jerking off to guys named Bob for like the last 10 years because he can't spell boo.
well, I'm here anyways. But I mean, the long and the short of it is, I mean, I think some comedian once said is that with AI and those headphones and all that sort of shit, he said that the day a guy who works in a factory stuffing Ritz crackers into a box can fuck Pamela Lee Anderson, then the world will just spiral.
Mm. Yeah, getting there.
Okay, Kent.
Yeah.
Enough of your jerk off habits. What do you got for us? I
Well,
hope you're going to bring something good. If not, let's go home now.
as you guys know, Juneteenth is coming up on the 19th.
What?
And I thought, well, what is the most inappropriate topic that we could cover considering the timing? Have you guys ever heard of Dylan Roof?
No,
I also haven't heard of Juneteenth.
neither have I, but I did.
Okay, well, Juneteenth is Black History Day.
Oh. When does it end?
It's like Pride, isn't it? It's just an ongoing yearly thing.
Yeah.
And since I'm covering the South, and the first thing that comes to the mind of anybody that isn't from the South when it comes to the South, I believe, is hate crimes. I figured for the pilot of this episode, I would cover one of the worst hate crimes, maybe in American history.
Or as I like to say, hate crime, hate crime. Thank you very much.
Where? I'm doing air guitar.
I also figured that this being the pilot episode of Brothers Grimm, it would be fun to kick it off with a subject that is absolutely chock full of landmines and sensitive subjects.
Oh, good. Great. I'm going to get the feeling I'm going to be doing a lot of editing.
And hate crimes is kind of what we in the South are unfortunately known for. Hate crimes and, I would say, biscuits and gravy and extremely passive-aggressive sayings that come off as polite to people that aren't aware of what you're saying.
And incest.
And diabetes.
And diabetes.
Yeah.
Diabetes, too.
And pancake houses.
That's all bullshit, though, because we also have cool things like biscuits and gravy, extremely passive-aggressive sayings that come off as polite, and Dolly Parton.
And pancake houses.
And there's also a hell of a lot more black people and minorities in the South than the media would want you to believe. I myself actually live in kind of a black neighborhood. So today I'm talking about Dylan Roof. And if you've never seen a picture of Dylan Roof, go ahead and type that in now. Dyllann Roof. If you're looking at a picture of him,
All right.
he looks exactly like the offspring of Kid Rock and the main character from the Peanut Butter Falcon. And I'm not talking about Shia LaBeouf.
Right. The guy, that has mental issues or who's retarded, right? Yeah, he looks like he's got a bowl cut.
He looks like Kid Rock with mental retardation, yeah. That's the most accurate description of somebody's physical appearance that I think I've ever given Kid Rock with an extra chromosome and a bowl cut.
Yeah, he looks pretty fucked up.
You nailed it.
He's waving an American flag. Yeah.
It's on fire.
Yeah.
Looks like it's on fire.
Yeah,
right?
that's right. And he's got a Gold Jim's t-shirt and he's wearing stonewashed jeans that haven't been in since, fucking 1989.
Speak for yourself, dude. That's what I got on right now, actually. What the fuck? This is fucking horrible, man. I'm really getting torn down.
And then there's a picture of him with a Confederate flag. Yeah, he's pretty fucked up looking. He looks mean. He's got a gun.
He looks like a Confederate fag. All right, sorry.
Woo, doggy. Gonna be doing some editing on this episode.
Now, we are not going to feign shock and horror at this story because it's race related, like all the other podcasts that touch this would do. It's horrible. We fucking get it. We know it's horrible. Jack and DEADBUG know it's horrible. We know it's just like any other crime. This is terrible. So just because this is race related,
you're already fucking doing what you said you weren't doing, Chief.
What's that?
Just apologizing. Just tell us the fucking story.
I'm not apologizing for anything.
Okay.
The day is June 17th, 2015. It was a Wednesday evening. The location was Emmanuel African Methodist Episcopal. The location was it's so long, the name of this. Emmanuel African Methodist Episcopal Church. And that was in downtown Charleston, South Carolina. We have a group of, it was 12 black Americans in a black church. They're all settling down for Bible study like they have a million fucking times before, considering this church was founded in the early 1800s. Just another Wednesday. At 8:17 p.m., a black Hyundai Sonata pulls into the parking lot. Now, these folks are 17 minutes into Bible study. Dylan Roof enters the church at 8:17 p.m., finds them down in the Bible study room, and asks who the pastor is. Now, these people, they welcome Dylan with open arms and inform him, hey, the lead pastor here is Reverend Clementa Pinkney.
Okay. We get it. We get it, Ken. Move on. We only got 3 hours here.
Dylan very promptly say, hey, it's the Reverend over there. Dylan joins the Reverend at his table where he's leading Bible study. And then Bible study just kind of went on like usual. This time, however, for the first time in probably the church's history, there's now a pale 21-year-old fellow there sticking out like a sore thumb. Now, despite what the media would like us all to believe, being a white guy isn't a bad thing.
No, but Kent, having your middle name as Storm and your last name Roof is a bad thing.
That is
Dylan
a very
with
bad
two
thing.
N's,
Yes.
Storm Roof. That's
Yeah.
a giveaway that something is wrong here.
It is? Yeah, and another thing, let me tell you this. Not only that, but a white guy with a bowl cut, a fanny pack, and wild, darty eyes is also always a bad thing.
And I've seen a few of these neo-Nazis, I guess what you call extreme right-wing, although that term is often overused.
It is. There's going to be people call this podcast extreme right-wing.
And that's why I didn't want to get Jack involved.
Can I say something quick? You know, Storm Roof, right? He looks like, with that bowl cut, and with him looking like a roofer, like a storm roofer, like a storm trooper,
Yep.
storm roofer, you know? Mm-hmm. This guy looks like a storm roofer, and he's named Storm Roof. Unreal.
But there have been a couple of shooters, I think the one, I forget the guy's name, who've had this same sort of haircut.
Yeah,
You know that one? And he looks almost the same, doesn't he?
It is kind of the school
shut
shooter
up all the
special.
kids.
That's
What
right.
was his fucking name? Yeah, man. That shut up all the, that
Yeah.
Alex Jones was
Yeah.
saying was not real. The Sandy Hook
He
massacre
had the exact
kid.
same haircut.
He did. That was Adam
Yeah,
Lanza,
yeah,
was it
yeah.
not? Lanza? fuck, my brain's still working. 8
He
beers
did
in,
have the
boys.
exact.
All
I'm
right.
looking at it now. It's literally the exact same haircut.
So it's like it's almost like some sort of special handshake or something. Like, hey, one of us. You're one of us.
Nice.
You know, with the ball hair. Haircut, yeah, you're one of us. You just got the fucking cut. You know, you're just one of us.
And on top of that, all that, when the white guy with a bowl haircut, a fanny pack, and wild darty eyes shows up for Bible study in a black church, bad things are going to happen.
I mean, this is a fucking warning sign. Warning bells are going off everywhere. Here,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's also, I need to point out, I said fanny pack. It's more of a, what he had done was taken the, it was a pouch for like a flak jacket, like a black military pouch, and just attached it to the front of his belt.
So it was a fucking homemade fanny pack? That's even fucking worse.
Yes.
Weird.
There's a lot of warning signs here. At around 9 p.m., so he shows up at 8:17, he sits through the Bible study.
Wow.
And at around 9, these people welcomed him in. At around 9 p.m., after about an hour of Bible study, everybody stands up to close the study in prayer. They all bow their heads to pray, as is customary when in prayer. I don't know if you guys have been to church, but Jesus is the only person you're not allowed to look for when you're talking to him. And I got to say this, I've peeked during the prayers at church, and he never shows up. So I don't know what y'all are trying not to see.
Okay.
When was the last time you were in church, Deadbug?
About a month ago.
For that purpose? To pray?
No, my daughter was baptized.
Whoa, Jesus. Nice, man.
What about you, Jack?
Deadbug's just so interesting to me. I could talk about fucking what he wants to talk about all fucking day. Me? I was there for a piano recital for my boy. Otherwise, I don't go much. They want me to. They see me at the fucking liquor store at 7 a.m, but they go fuck themselves.
Anyways, Dylan Roof is the only one that did not abide by the traditional prayer rules there at the church. Because while everybody else had their heads bowed and their eyes closed, he pulled a semi-automatic 9mm Glock 45 from his fanny pack.
Jesus Christ.
One, which is not a common prayer custom. One could even say it's frowned upon.
Mm-hmm.
And this is further proof to never close your eyes when you're in a room with a white guy with a bowl cut. He's either going to shoot the place up or fuck the couch.
Yeah.
I wish I could say that Dylan Roof removed the Glock from his fanny pack because it was, digging into his hip, and that was making him uncomfortable, and he was distracted from prayer. But that wasn't the case, because at 9:03 p.m. he raised that pistol very quickly. It was a very quick motion. Out, boom, 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 open fire on a bunch of innocent people who were doing nothing but practicing their religion and what should have been the safety of their church.
Yeah, and Kent, no doubt they were welcoming to him, seeing him sit there for so long, right? Like a white boy coming into a black church, they were probably like, "Wow, look at the balls on this kid!" Like they're probably
they
accepting
were all
of
very
him, right?
accepting by all accounts. This wasn't like, "What's this white boy doing?" None of that shit. Yeah, come on in. That's the pastor.
Right.
Have a seat with him. We would love for you to join us in Bible study.
With a lot of churches, well, most churches, or probably all churches, they're very welcoming. I mean, it's you're coming for whatever reason, and I think that's almost a church motto, isn't it? For whatever reason, you're coming, please come. I mean, obviously not to kill us, but you know what I mean. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, they want you to come. Like, they're opening to strangers. They're not insular in that way.
Absolutely. I'd like to strike from the record me saying go fuck yourselves, because I probably will go someday. I didn't mean to be so crude about that. Those kind of people, man, I wish I could be one.
Like a shooter?
Maybe someday.
Oh.
Yeah, like that's what I'm talking about. Like Dylan Roof's family. who was what?
You have a bit of admiration, do you, for Dylan Roof? Dylan
Jack's
Stormroof.
the only one that's sitting. I see where this guy's coming from.
Yeah, just get the haircut, Jack. You're already halfway there.
Well, that's not possible.
That's not possible. No. I got a Dracula fucking haircut. If Dracula had a receding hairline.
Well, the reason Dylan Roof later admitted that the reason he sat there for the entire Bible study was because the people were so nice to him that he had second thoughts.
Oh, wow. Oh, my God.
Oh, my God.
He considered not doing
that's
it.
scary, isn't it? That's scary. I mean, the balance of life and death.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And if you're spiritual, which, I guess I am. I guess all of us probably are in a certain way. He would be affected by what they're talking about too, Like, God, not just the way they're treating them, but what they're talking about. And he still, I'm assuming, does something horrible.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of people that are getting ready to die.
Oh, jeez.
The first to get shot, and I would say this was by plan, was the youngest person in the room, and that was a 26-year-old man by the name of Tywanza Sanders. Shot him in the head right off the bat, and this is kind of a cowardly move because Tywanza was really the only one in the room that would have been a threat to Dylan if, you know what I mean? He was athletic built, strong young dude, probably the biggest threat in the room to Dylan, who is, by the way, built like Michael Cera.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, he looks like it.
Yeah.
A cowardly move, so he kills Tywanza right off the bat because that's the only real threat here to him.
Are you sure that Tywanza didn't whisper to him, "Hey, you're invited to the cookout"? And he thought he said shootout? So fucking stupid.
I've never understood why the cookout invite is so important.
Because white people fucking are weak and insecure.
That's true. That's got to be it. I don't give a fuck if a black person invites me to a cookout.
Me neither, but I'd love to go. Mm-hmm. I love barbecue.
I have read online, Luna, that you are a big fan of barbecues.
So the first person to get killed, like I said, is Tywanza Sanders. And after the only real threat of somebody that could stop him is eliminated, Dylan just starts aiming randomly at whoever he sees. He just started plucking off what was left, and it was mostly, unfortunately, scared, frozen older people. Many of them women.
Oh, that's terrible. That's terrible. I mean, let's face it. He's going in there for a body count, isn't he? I mean, I think he doesn't have any particular target. It's a hate crime.
This is the most extreme. There is no question as to whether or not this is a hate crime, which we'll get into here in a minute. Yeah, because he's very open about everything when he gets caught. So he just starts opening fire. I know that you would probably think, well, when he starts shooting, it probably mass chaos erupts. People start trying to leave, run out of the room. That's not really what happened. After the initial shoots start ringing out, people actually climb under the table. Everybody starts getting under the table and crying. And he just starts walking around and shooting them underneath the table, shooting into these groups of people under the table.
That's terrifying.
A total of 9 people were killed. Those who died included the church senior pastor. He was also a state senator. Reverend Clementa Pinckney, the man that I was telling you about, the leader of the Bible study who welcomed Dylan with open arms. He was a father of 2 who had started preaching at age 13. The others that were killed was 45-year-old Reverend Sharonda Singleton. She was a little baddie, too, if you look up pictures of her. Very tasty. I would say more so than Princess Diana.
I'm not sure I want to get involved in Googling gunshot victims.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just me?
Right
all right.
Too.
59-year-old Myra Thompson. 70-year-old Ethel Lance. 54-year-old Cynthia Hurd. 74-year-old Reverend Daniel Simmons Sr., 87-year-old Susie Jackson, and 49-year-old DePayne Middleton Doctor. Like I said,
Terrible.
it's horrible. Total number of victims, 9.
Well, fuck.
Total broken down by sex, 6 women and 3 men.
Dude, I gotta say for the record, DEADBUG made me laugh there.
Yeah, you guys
through
were
you
laughing
fucking,
while I was
doing your
reading.
eulogy.
I'm sorry. But it's sort of like, it just reminded me of being at the dinner table and, you know, and
Yeah.
someone tries to offer you something. It was like Kent tried to offer, would you like some grits? And you say, no, thank you. And then just, okay. And then you
It's
just go
funny
on.
how
You
your
just,
head went to grits.
but it's just like, you weren't shaken by us saying, nah, we don't want to take a look because she's tasty. And you're just like, okay, well, you're lost. And then you just continued.
She was a beautiful woman.
Yeah, which made me laugh
you
even
were
more.
unfazed by us not wanting to masturbate and look at a dead woman.
We look like the bad guys.
Yeah, I like the way Kent turns it around. We for some reason, we look like the bad guys here.
Yeah, you guys look racist.
Well, and Kent mentions that she's tasty, maybe to not look racist. He's using that reverse psychology. I'm not racist. I jerked off to her.
And I think that holds up.
Oh, fuck.
I really do.
I think you
you've-
might be right there. I think you turned it on us very cleverly, and we're the ones who look like dicks.
Yeah. Grits in our face.
Grits and chitlins.
Baby back ribs. Baby back ribs.
There were
Kent
3
Chungas likes
survivors.
baby rat ribs.
There were 3 survivors of the shooting.
You do it again, Ken. You fucking did it again. We're in the middle of laughing, and then you take the higher ground. There were 3 survivors of the shootings.
This is a brutal hate crime.
Yeah.
I'm trying to catch you guys while you're laughing.
Fuck off, Ken.
I gotta put a napkin. I gotta slip this
Fucking
napkin
Ken,
over
he
my
just
mouth.
fucking- he catches us laughing, and then he reads it to make us look like we're laughing at the body count, opposed to laughing at
Fuck.
something else.
That's what
Fucking
I'm saying.
setting us
Yeah.
up, you Star Wars motherfucker.
It's fucking horrible.
So there were 3 survivors of the shooting. Dylan went through 6 mags. Or, I'm sorry, not mags. This is a pistol. Clips.
Clips.
I just did a CNN thing.
Okay, what's
he
the
went
fucking,
through
what's the
6
fucking
clips.
difference between a mag and a clip?
So a mag goes to rifles, like an AR-15, an M4. A clip is for pistols. So mags are just clips for rifles.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised at how many people catch me up on my gun rhetoric because or terms because I don't know anything about guns. But there's so many experts that'll say no, that's not that, or that's not an automatic, or
Same.
Yeah.
Me too. Yeah. Well, look where we live. I guess
exactly.
Kent lives some fucking
I got my
gunshots are
first
going off in
rifle
the
when I was
background.
4 years old. That's true. I got
there
it
we
for
go.
Christmas.
Yeah.
And just out of curiosity, do you guys know the difference between semi-automatic, automatic, any of that stuff?
The semi-automatic is something that will go even if you hold down the finger, it goes in short bursts.
So
Burst, that's what I was gonna
semi-automatic is 1 round per trigger pull.
That's what I mean, short burst, like
So no, that would be fully automatic.
Oh, okay.
So-
So what's a semi-automatic?
Okay.
sound like then?
Semi-automatic is you pull the trigger 1 time, 1 round comes out, and the gun stops firing.
What's a round? How many shots?
One bullet.
Oh, okay.
And with the semi-automatic, does it automatically reloads for you can
Yes.
hit the trigger again though? And then both
You don't have to.
so you don't have
So
to reload, it
semi-automatic
just kinda,
is pull the trigger, boom, release, pull the trigger, boom, release, pull the trigger, boom. Whereas fully automatic is pull the trigger, spray.
sprays.
Like an M15 or something.
Okay.
Like M240 Bravo and M60. There's an AK-47. Those are all fully automatic weapons.
Is Uzi a fully automatic?
Uzi is a fully automatic. Yeah.
Yeah. But you can take an Uzi down to just 1 shot. You can do singular shots with an Uzi as well, can't you? Or is it just all?
Yeah, you
bursts?
can do. Yeah, I mean, guns are like Honda Civics in that they are customizable any way you want. You can do just about anything with them.
Okay.
You know what's ironic here is that Little Uzi was actually singing at the in the chorus at this event. is what I'm reading here. You know the rapper, Lil Uzi?
What event?
At this shooting, at this black congregation.
You're joking, right?
Yeah, no, I am.
I'm
Trying my best, man.
I don't think Kent would appreciate that.
Well, I can guarantee you it wasn't Post Malone.
Yeah. Okay, so carry on, Kent. Carry on.
So Dylan runs through 6 clips, and if you do the math on that, that's a lot of reloading. He eventually leaves 1 clip full, and that is Dylan Roof has no intentions whatsoever of escaping this situation alive. From the get-go, he figured he was going to die here. He saves that last clip for the police outside. But he also said during his interrogation that he had no intention of killing any white police officers. That clip was for killing himself.
Wow.
Why did he do it then?
Yeah, because this is a cowardly act, and he's a fucking coward.
But I mean, where's this sort of hatred come from? I mean, does he?
Oh yeah, we're gonna get into that.
That's what I think Jack's asking. Yeah, where's this hatred come from?
Yeah, we're gonna get into that. So he's emptied 6 clips. There are now 9 people dead. 3 of them are alive, and one of them that's alive is a woman by the name of Polly Shepard, who is currently hiding under a table beneath some bodies, praying to God out loud. Dylan Roof walks over to her, kneels down and looks at her and says, quote, "Shut up. Did I shoot you yet?" Unquote. Polly replied, "No." And Dylan said, quote, "Well, I'm not going to. I'm leaving you here to tell the story." Unquote.
Wow.
Jesus.
That's cold.
Jesus. Yeah. Yeah, man, wow, what a scene there. She's drawing him to her with her prayers. And he cold-bloodedly says, you know what, shut the fuck up and leave me here to tell this story. My God, man.
But that sort of reminds me of the Columbine shooting, where they went in and they leave one of those where the kids are all under the desk, and one of the kids who's classmate of Dylan says, "Dylan, what are you doing?" And Dylan just said, "I'm killing people."
Yeah.
And then he just, and he just said,
worry about it.
And then he said, "Are you going to kill me?" And then Dylan said, "No." Thought about it for a second, then just said no, and then he just walked past him and started killing people.
Yeah, it was one of the students that had actually been like friendly to him, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and he said, like, "Dylan, what are you doing?" He said, he just casually said, "I'm killing people."
Wow.
So,
yeah,
no, you're fine.
Sorry, Kent, but it's amazing. It's amazing how you can trip somebody who's doing a mass murder or even just a regular killing just by saying a few words. We've run into it a lot on Tales from the Bottom Down, where you strike the killer with something that you say, where you just like kind of touch their heart in some strange way with just a few words. Running and screaming for your life, I mean, you're drawing attention to yourself where they're going to want to get that job done. But if you're sitting there praying or you're saying something just a little off kilter, like, "Are you going to shoot me?"
Yeah,
gives them a second.
It almost humanized him. Yeah,
that's part of the story. Yeah. Right.
There's also something very disturbing and creepy about the thought that, he's just fired, I think it was 67 rounds total. And almost everybody in this room is dead now. And there's an eerie moment when the gunshots stop and the room falls silent. And all you hear is prayer coming from underneath one of the tables.
Jesus. And then the beat drops and Little Uzi fucking hits the stage again, fuck off, fuck off. What's wrong with me?
Fucking scary.
Very scary.
Jack just made a joke, but this is a national tragedy. It's a hate crime.
What are you doing? You're trying to drop Jack in it again? Like, you haven't already done it enough? You're trying to take the higher ground? The guy who's masturbating to dead...
It's my boy.
You gotta
DEADBUG.
We gotta watch Kent. He's treacherous, isn't he? You gotta keep an eye on him.
One would call me a godless savage. Oh.
He does it again. Jesus. I think I'm going to fucking cut the record button right now and cut our losses. Edit him out. I'll imitate him for the rest of the...
Just do that Violent J
Violent
voice.
J. Sorry, Kent had to use the bathroom. We're here with Violent J. Hey, you guys doing? Zap the Gavin sandwiches in the head.
So, Dylan Roof. Oh, nobody's ever said his name like that.
Right.
So, Dylan Roof. So,
The haircut and the guns and the pop-outs and the Dylan.
So Dylan, you know, he's fully expecting whenever he gets outside the church to be met by police officers.
So he walks out. He's walking out.
He actually says that when he opened the front door, he peeked out.
Did he? I'm wondering how, because you're talking this, and this is such a dramatic story, but I'm wondering the actual amount of time that it took him from the first shot fired to when he peeked out. I mean, it must have only been minutes.
The whole ordeal from the first gunshot to the last gunshot lasted, it was like a minute and a half to 2 minutes.
That's insane. That's insane.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, for me, it seems like 10 minutes.
Yeah, and probably felt that way, you know, to everybody involved until they weren't involved anymore.
Yeah.
So Dylan, he peeks his head out the door because he's expecting the place to be crawling with police. But to his surprise, it was quiet outside. Birds were chirping. Nobody was outside.
Well, it's Sunday morning, isn't it?
It's Sunday evening. Yeah.
Sunday evening. Okay, well, Sunday evening, traditionally, especially in the South, is very quiet.
Yeah, and this is also, you know, probably about, it was at like 9:03, 9:05 that he peeked his head out. So it's late.
I mean, the gunshots, the sound of the gunshots must have lit up the town. I mean, you can't tell me that you didn't hear that in whatever part of the area you're in.
Yeah, exactly. But no attention whatsoever. But the police didn't get called until 9:05. You got to keep in mind, like, almost everybody that was in there is dead now.
Yeah.
So it wasn't even until Dylan left the room that they could call emergency services. So, you know, he had never planned on escaping. So he's kind of like flabbergasted right now because this is where his plan ended. So he just kind of gets back in his black Hyundai Elantra and leaves with no plan whatsoever.
Well, it's almost like he's exceeded his plan. It's almost like he planned to be shot by the police at the location, and now that he hasn't, he's kind of like, well, I haven't planned to have come this far.
Exactly. This is where it all, he's like, okay, well, what do I do now? So he gets in his car and he just starts driving. And he eventually decides, well, this was his reasoning too. I've never been to Nashville before, Nashville, Tennessee. I reckon I'll go there. But at 10:44 a.m. on the next morning, just a little bit over 12 hours after the shooting, he's caught in a traffic stop in Shelby, North Carolina, 243 miles northwest of Charleston, where the shooting took place. And the reason he was caught was because a woman by the name of Debbie Deals spotted his haircut while she sat beside him in traffic.
Wow. So, I mean, basically, that haircut, because it is so unique, what got him nabbed.
Yeah, that's exactly what that white supremacist bowl cut.
That is
what
insane,
got him busted.
because it is if you see it, it's a very distinctive haircut.
Yeah, it looks a lot like Jim Carrey's character in Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, there's a racial undertone here in the fact that the police didn't arrive to gunshots in a black neighborhood. Where if some people would say shot up a regular white people church in Indiana somewhere, they'd be swarming the place. I'm sure some people would say that. The response by the police was slow because he picked a slow response.
I think that's fair to assume, but Yeah,
I'm assuming.
that's fair to assume. But you've also got the shooting stopped at 9:03.
Right, it was quick. Sorry.
And Dylan stepped outside around 9:04, 9:05. So even at
so
like
fast.
even in a neighborhood where it was, even if he had shot a bunch of white people at a Woodstock festival, I don't know that the police could get there in a minute and a half. You know what I mean?
Don't forget the location we're at. I mean, basically, you got Kid Rock shooting Bud Lights just down the road. There is that sort of sound, occasionally sound of gun riot, and this happened so quick. This wasn't a long,
so fast.
Yeah.
I think I was pissing in my piss bucket while you guys were talking about
No,
that
you're
part.
good.
My apologies. Yeah.
Your piss bucket. Okay.
Well, he's talking. It never ends.
Dylan Roof was sentenced to death on January 10th, 2017. This is a pretty open, and you'll see why. He during his interrogation, he spilled the beans on everything. He was very open about everything. Yes, I killed him. This is why I did it. Blah, blah, blah. There was no real investigation here. Dylan Roof handed him the case on a silver platter. However, on April 10th, that death sentence was overturned to life in prison without the possibility of parole. And I know you all are wondering right now, but why? Why?
Why? I'm wondering why. Why are we clogging up the system with another lifer when we could just eradicate them?
Yeah.
Dylan Roof, for the first, probably 12, 13, 14 years of his life, was a normal little white boy with a bowl cut. Like, he got in trouble. He had obsessive compulsive disorder, but nothing crazy. To the interrogators during his interrogation, he openly admitted that he wished to start a race war because, quote, black people are taking over the country, unquote.
Wow.
Yeah, a skewed view of the way that the world works. Obviously, he's young. Charles Manson tried the same thing, and he was a lot more intelligent and had a better plan. That never works, man. It'll never happen.
And you wonder how much of this is provocated by the media, too.
Yeah.
Sometimes I've got to distance myself from things like Twitter and stuff like that, because if I have to see one more clip of a black guy sucker punching a young woman walking down the street, you know what I mean? And then I realize sometimes that I'm being manipulated. I'm not saying this doesn't happen, but I feel
it
like
happens
I'm being
on both
manipulated.
sides, too.
Yeah, but I feel like I'm being manipulated.
You are.
Right, you're being fed through an algorithm. So based on
exactly. And
whatever you
I'm not saying this doesn't happen. It's just it was that whole George Floyd thing. I had to cut myself loose from it because I felt like I was being poked and I was being manipulated in my views towards it. Like if I had to open up one more, Twitter or one more news item saying they were unveiling a statue and stuff like that, and I thought, okay, you're trying to make me hate this and hate everybody around it.
Right.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing. And I know you're a Star Wars person, Ken. And I'm not going to get into the.
I'm literally not a Star Wars person.
Okay, you're not. Okay, you're
I
not.
fucking hate Star Wars.
Well, that's funny because me and Jack have been making fun of you for the last 2 years now. So you kind of fucking. That's all we talk about for the first 15 minutes of our podcast. But now you've taken that joy from our life. Okay, but thank you, Kent. But I'm still going to continue, and I'm going to still ignore what you say and believe you as a Star Wars fan. But I've been seeing recently the reviews of the new Star Wars, and this is about media manipulation. It isn't about Star Wars or the validity of who we get in these things or woke or any of those things. It's about media manipulation. And all I've been hearing about how woke and how horrible Star Wars is, the new Star Wars, I forget what it's called, the series on Disney Plus that they just released. Acolyte. Now, this isn't the validity of what's good or bad. It's
I hate that I
they're
knew
just
that.
saying it. They've destroyed. Sorry, Kent?
I said I hate that I knew that.
Okay, well, yeah, but so I had to check it out for myself because this is all that I've heard of it, and the big problem was is every picture they showed, there was a black guy, there were a Chinaman, there were a girl, there was, but you never saw any white guys. And I watched it and I enjoyed it. I thought it was good, and I didn't see what the hubbub was about. Yeah, there was the Chinese guys, but he fit the Chinese character. Yeah, sure, the lead character was a black girl, but she was good. She's excellent in it. And I didn't see any gay people in it. Not that mattered to me. And it seemed good to me. For me, it seemed good. And then I realized that I was being manipulated by the media, who just kept throwing that down my throat that it's going to suck because.
DEADBUG, I agree, and I've experienced the same thing. I have a lot of liberal media shoved down my throat, and so I try to expose myself to a lot of conservative media just to get both sides of the story. And as soon as I did that, all I get is conservative media. Suddenly it's like they think I'm conservative, so it's like, boom, everything I get is conservative because I went on a one-day binge of just trying to expose myself to everything, And they try to pin
it really
you.
shows that you have to watch everything to get a balance.
I think that if the media was genuinely concerned with unification and enlightening people, they would make your algorithm the opposite of what you want to see.
Yeah. Yes.
They're not concerned with that. They're not that, and that's your duty to do it for yourself. And that's why podcasts are so great, because you get people who are not bought and paid for by corporations.
Well, exactly. So, but I mean, and what I guess this is the whole thing that we're saying here is this Dylan Stormroof. This is what he could have been watching. He's getting a hatred for something,
Yes.
And then it's almost like when he was in there watching that sermon. There was something that was poking his brain saying, hey, dude, these aren't all bad people.
Listen, guys, you guys are so fucking on the mark and you don't even realize it. Because what started Dylan Roof's spiral into hatred of African Americans was the 2012 killing of Trayvon Martin.
Wow.
Right.
Now, I don't care if you're the listener, how you personally feel about Trayvon Martin case. I don't give a fuck. We're not going to get into that here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's neither here nor there.
But it is important to this story because it's what kicked off all of this racism and hatred. Because Dylan Roof, when he was a youngster, was watching the Trayvon Martin case unfold on TV and apparently decided to go online and Google, quote, black on white crime, unquote. And the statistics that he saw really pissed him off, made him very spicy. He did not care for them. And that's kind of what... It's also important to point out that Dylan had a lot of black friends in high school. He grew up in a black area. Yeah. Even on the day of his shooting, he had black friends.
Wow.
So this is just all very odd. He lived at 10428 Garner's Ferry Road in Eastover, South Carolina. And Eastover is primarily black.
Okay, I get it. So it's basically it is media manipulation.
That's exactly what this was, because the second he starts Googling what he wants to hear about the Trayvon Martin case and not what actually happened, on top of black on white crime, the algorithm is like, we got ourselves a extreme right conservative. Let's start feeding him I'mRight.com.
Right. Yeah. It's called confirmation bias. And so many people do it. They just watch stuff that confirms their bias.
Well, I do it all the time. I mean, it's just, and I find myself doing it, and I have to stop myself and say, this isn't healthy. I don't believe this is true. I don't believe that every crime committed is by this person, or I don't believe that our island is being invaded nonstop by. But the media
your
knows
island is definitely being invaded.
Well, I know, but not as much as and the media. I just think the media is the one who just likes provocating these things. My opinion has always been is that people don't hate trans people as much as they think they do. People don't hate gay people as much as they think they do.
No.
The media rubs it down our fucking throat, and that's what makes us hate it.
And DEADBUG, to your point, what I often find is that My problem isn't so much with the people themselves. It's with the people who are sticking up for them and trying to push a narrative that have no involvement with it whatsoever. I have Indian friends. I'll make fun of all that kind of thing. We all have talked about this in the past. Gay friends, whatever. That doesn't absolve us of anything if we're being truly hateful. But I'm never being truly hateful. I'm just kind of pissed off at the shoving down the throat through things like you said, Star Wars earlier, or Disney or whatever. It's like, don't treat them like pets. It's usually white people that are trying to push a narrative and they're treating them like pets.
Yeah.
And they're actually,
Well, I mean, it's people who, a lot of my documentaries and films that I've done are on Asians because, I lived in Asia for quite some time and have a lot of Asian friends. And I'm shocked at the amount of people who some of the things that I say jokingly call me a piece of racist shit and call me all these things. Meanwhile, the majority of my friends are Asians and I live there, and you wouldn't believe the things that they call each other. And these people that are calling me a piece of shit, like literally nasty things like that, they don't even have an Asian friend, and they're sticking up for people. Like I'll tell you a funny story. It's like an expression in Asia, and I love saying it when I was there, is the word chink. Okay, chink means is referring to a cheap Asian. So a Chinaman who is a cheapskate, they call him a chink, and this.
Like a Jew.
Not even as bad as, this is more openly like in Asia. You'd say, "Oh, don't be a chink. You're paying for these beers." Like you'd say in an office. It's not a bad thing to say. It's in Asia. So I used to fucking love it because I'd be on eBay and I'd say, I'd pretend I was Chinese and I'd be emailing and I'd say, "I buy those headphones from you for $70," and the guy say, "No, $85," and I'd say, "Don't be a chink.
I
75.
think you
Don't
mean
be a chink."
I think you mean Dara.
What the fuck are you talking about? No, Dara.
Well, the money.
Yeah, Dara. But the long and the short of it is these people are saying these and all the things that they call each other, and they say it and then you come over here and everybody is sticking up for them and defending it and saying you're racist, and meanwhile this is words I use every day there.
DEADBUG, I have a Chinese friend of mine who told me this joke. You probably heard it, but I'll ask Kent this question. What do you call a fat chink, Kent? A chunk.
I was going to say slant.
Yeah. Can't.
No, hey,
don't be racist.
Back to roofing. Back to roof. Back to the storm roofer.
Back to your buddy storm roofer. So, but that's the long and short of that's what I'm saying is that we are being manipulated, whether we know it or not.
Yeah.
By algorithms and by the news, because the news is dying and they need this clickbait.
Absolutely, and I'll end on, for myself at least, is that you need to disconnect from that and get out and talk to real people as much as you possibly can. Because, like I said, talking to my Indian friends or whoever else, they all joke about these types of things, and they'll agree with me. It's like, yeah, a bunch of fucking Indians are trying to scam you people over here in Canada, and they're calling you up and trying to rip you off and fuck with you. It's not all of them. But you can joke about that particular part of it, and they agree with you, right? You're not saying they're all
when
like
I
that.
go over the hills and see the buffalo roam, I agree with you, Jack. The mighty fields of high grass. We smoke the piachi.
You went to Indian with the feather. I was talking about the dot.
Jack,
with
you're
the dot.
a dear buddy of mine, Jack. You tell us the stories of your true crime endeavors.
That's more it. Yeah,
You
got
are
it
my
there.
bestest buddy, Jack. If a gun were held to my head, I would suck you up.
That's it. That's exactly it.
I'm feeling a lot better now because I was worried when I picked this story that it would come off as racist.
Oh, no, we got you, man.
And you guys are throwing smoke bombs, and it's like really well done how you're providing me cover here.
But you'll be surprised at how I fix that all in the edit. And you'll still come out looking like a racist son of a bitch, and me and Jack are gonna come out looking like Trudeau.
Yeah. I sweat bullets every time I I don't anymore with DEADBUG, but yeah, he takes care of us. He takes care of us.
He will jump on a grenade. This guy, I would have been happy to be beside you in a foxhole, DEADBUG. That would have. But that's
man.
how it all started with Dylan Roof, going down the rabbit hole. You got an algorithm feeding you what you want to see. A lot of times it's bullshit. And Dylan is spiraling into this rabbit hole of white supremacy and neo-Nazism. And I'm not using buzzwords. That's literally what he was into. He, from his own words, white supremacy and neo-Nazism. Actually,
do you have anything on the family background?
So yeah, he came from, I wouldn't say a broken home, but his mother and father got a divorce when he was younger, and he stayed with his father a lot of the time and his stepmother. Not an ideal childhood, but not one that is that you can say is like particularly harsh, or not one where you can look at this situation and be like, well, he didn't have a chance. You know what I mean? I would say just a pretty standard middle class broken home kind of thing. Nothing crazy.
What's with the whole burning the flag thing?
So Dylan, there's a 2-hour interrogation of him, and I've listened to all of it, and his views are very concrete. He's into the, like, for example, he's super into neo-Nazism, but his complaint about Nazism is there are no true Nazis in America. So he said, like, at one point they said, do you consider yourself a Nazi? And he laughs and he says, there's no such thing as a real Nazi anymore in America. So the Nazis weren't hardcore enough for him, is what he was saying. He says they're just all talk. He didn't like the KKK because he said the KKK were all talk. Nobody's actually doing anything.
Can I add here that most serial killers or mass shooters or people like that, psychiatrists have said, and I agree, I think, is that any of them that adopt the values of Nazism and look up to Hitler, say, really what they're doing is they're looking up to the power aspect of it, and they respect that. They respect that the Nazis try to take complete power over people, and they relate to that in a certain way. So what he's seeing is that the neo-Nazis being weak as compared to the Nazis, he wants total control, and he respected that about them, and he disrespected that they did not gain that total control. That's what his ideal is, because he has no control. Because he has no control over his own life. He's weak and wants to be
well,
so
when
strong.
they ask him about white supremacy, he's like, I don't know that I think that that white people are the supreme race. And Dylan Roof's opinion, he kind of feels like Asians are the supreme race, but he says he feels like white people should be. So,
he's just a kid too, right? This
he's really dumb. He's really dumb, and also, a funny thing that I realized last night while I was reading about this is I was stoned, and I made a connection that a lot of this stuff that on the surface seems extremely creepy and disturbing is really just a result of him being a stupid pussy. Like, on the surface, you see this guy walk in with this weird haircut and these darty eyes and creepy. He's kind of quiet. He's got a fanny pack. He sits down for the entire service. That's creepy. And then kills everybody, almost everybody in the room, and then walks out. Like, on the surface, that's like really creepy. But then you realize, oh, he set the whole service because he was thinking about pussing out. Like,
right. Well, yeah. And if he had any real intelligence, I think DEADBUG was talking about it earlier, or I was, both of us were, was that all of the things that were happening in there should have swayed him. The love in the room, the way they treated him, that all should have swayed him, but he was stuck to his purpose because he's power driven.
Yes. And, that's how it happens. You try to look up statistics that confirm what you want to believe, and the next thing you know, you have Confederate flag decals on your car. And I didn't make that up. His car was plastered with Confederate flags. As somebody who lives in the South, and has grown up in the South, even I, whenever I see a Confederate flag on a vehicle, think, oh, look, a racist piece of shit. Because they can get mad and say, oh, you know, it's heritage, not hate. We all know what that flag means.
Well, it's kind of scary, though, to think about it that, 50 years ago, Dukes of Hazzard and the General Lee car was spinning around.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, the next thing people are going to want to know, well, what about mental illnesses? This isn't something that... Dylan Roof, the only mental illness he had growing up was obsessive-compulsive disorder. And that doesn't provide even the slightest excuse for what he did. Actually, his obsessive-compulsive disorder was the reason he had that haircut. He was obsessed with having the same haircut, and he was very insecure about the shape of his forehead, and that haircut overlapped his forehead in a way to make it unseen.
I would disagree with that, but okay, sure.
He was, I don't know that haircut is a better choice than just showing off your fucked up forehead.
Or wearing a hat.
Yeah.
May I suggest?
Or a napkin placed lightly over your forehead.
Baseball caps are readily available.
Or even just covering your face and head in human shit. It would still look better than that haircut.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you know.
Yeah.
Well, Kent, what else can be said after that?
Shut up.
Yeah.
Shut up, Kent.
Well, he was a high school dropped out of high school, preferred video games and weed to showing up to class. And, I guess in closing, the only sliver of light in this entire story is the fact that Dylan Roof will now spend the rest of his life in a cage with large black men. Far more physically imposing than him, and that does make me smile just a little bit.
Exactly, and they probably do not give a fuck about the shape of his head.
No. They only care about the shape of his asshole.
Exactly, which will be very large and dripping.
I've read that there's large black men using him as a mop in the prison he's in. I didn't read that. I picture it.
So... that's Dylan Roof, a deep South hate crime, and I'm not going to be coming just because I'm in the South with hate crimes every episode. I just figured, hey, for the kickoff, we might as well do one to get it out of the way.
Gee.
Well, that was our challenge for the first episode, to come up with stories and crimes from our areas that we are living in, and that certainly won't be in every episode. You know, each episode will have a different theme, and this one was homeland crimes, so to speak.
Whatever we find interesting from our neck of the woods.
Yeah.
DEADBUG and I were talking about fact or fiction episodes, things like that, where we try to trick each other if it's fact or fiction. All kinds
talk about
of
a little bit
different
about
things.
that, Jack. I thought that was a really good idea you had.
Yeah, I was wanting it to be like that every time, but you were correct, DEADBUG, where we need to leave it more open, but an episode where we have to kind of guess if the guy is telling the truth or not about a crime, so we can make one up or grab one that seems outlandish and unbelievable, and maybe even leave it for the audience to decide whether or not it was fact or fiction.
Yeah, well, and I think, yeah, exactly.
Like a game show.
We really want to keep it open. We don't want to be put into one little area of how we want to present the show, and like I said, like your cupcake story, we don't want to be, we don't want to keep it all in like murder.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
right. Yeah. Well, really, we just wanted to hang out too, right? Like the three of us, this is a lot of fun. I mean, this is probably the most fun I've ever had in a podcast. So I'm just looking forward to just hanging out, you know?
Exactly. So this is what everybody can expect from Grimm, from the Brothers Grimm. So we're going to call the series Grimm, and it's presented by the Brothers Grimm, bringing grim tales. And not all so grim, but certainly a wide spectrum of tales from every aspect of storytelling, I guess we could say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thanks, guys. I mean, you guys both fucking came with the heat there.
This has been fun in a very fuck your sister kind of way.
Can't get help.
Yeah.
Well, Kent, on that note, we'll leave you with your proclivities and
Jack and I will leave to our own proclivities, and we'll see everybody next time on The Brothers Grimm. Now, if any of you guys listening to this over on YouTube, I'm going to leave a link to each of our Patrons in the description. And you can now go over there and you can sign up for free. And you get content for free. And then you can take it from there if you want to pay $1 or upwards. But it is fucking worth it, I got to say. And I'll see everybody over there. Well, boys, it's time for us all to climb back under our rocks. Adios.
See ya.
Sayonara.
Shit, don't worry, just another day of the same old shit digging in my pockets, trying to make $1 out of 15 cents. Shit, but that don't mean that I fall for anything. Like let a nigga tell me what I'm supposed to dream. Like I ain't supposed to do this, nigga. Where the cash at? Just as fast as you called me to come over, I seen you leave in that new black Range Rover. How you talking about you don't wanna pay me now? Didn't I put my grind on? Now, are you feeling that song? Do you like that track? Man, where the cash at, nigga? I know the dreams come true, but that don't mean I need you. All I need is my man Dan to show me where to sign on the dotted line. I guess today's one of them days I never ever seem to like to appreciate. I admit I'm so high. I guess that's how I gotta stay to hustle sometimes.
Where the cash at? 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 Where the cash at?
I got a heart like a paperback book. Sometimes you can't just flip through me, but you never tell what you can get. All I'm saying is just don't screw me, cause the page is open, but that don't mean we friends, we friends enough so I can roll off in that big black Benz. Just like you, just like you, just like you, nigga, just like you. Just like you, nigga, just like you, just like you, nigga, just like you. I know you say he wrong. Hell yeah, shit, now I'm wrong. Should've been gone. Now I got the picture. Take more than muscle to hustle, man. More than chest out muscle, man. How you feeling now, muscle, man? Beat the brakes off muscle, man. And I don't just mean muscle, man. So don't be in the way of a master plan. I ain't tryna strong on my nothing, man. Just where the cash
Where the
at.
cash at? Where the 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 cash at?
Now tell me what this all is for. How would I ever slam a phantom down? How would they try to do me like they do the rest of these rapper niggas and make me spend it all in court? Fuck it, I'm a baller, baby. And if it ever have to end, I was ballin', baby. But hopefully I never have to go through shit like that. But if I do, I'm a lion, I'ma get right back. Like, where the cash at? My nigga, where the cash at? Where the cash at? Playboy, where the cash at? Excuse me, shit, that's your stash? Gon' run that, get that head. My nigga, where the cash at? I gotta have that.
Where the cash